Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland. I'm Gimli and tonight I'll be joined by, first up, he's the hairy lady's favourite and a Bergkamp Wonderland's producer. It's Danny the GFP. Hello, Danny. Oh, what's up with you this week?
Oh, fucking cunts who run the NHS.
Oh, don't swear.
Oh, they fucking fucked me off. 18 months I've had a bad neck. It's so bad at the moment I can barely move. And now my fucking elbow's giving me grief. I might fucking strap some fireworks to me and myself and go all Guy Fawkes all over them. Is that how it works? I can't remember. Best move this on.
Something like that. Right. Next up, a man that's so proud to be Welsh, he's still claiming Pharrell Williams is one of his own. It's Jason Davies.
Good evening.
Hello. How are you?
Epic.
It's nice to have you back.
It's good to be back.
Oh, wonderful stuff. I see we've got a chatty bunch on tonight. Right. Next up, a West Country hero whose managerial prowess can only be described as Wenger-like. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know. It's Kris Carpenter. Hello, Kris.
Hello. Good evening all. How are we?
Well, I think we're all good. Aren't we, fellas?
No, I'm very bad.
Oh, so
Wonderful.
So you're such a miserable prick, honestly. Right. Next, a BSM heavyweight who, like Kris and Jason, has signed up to be part of the ABW panel. It's Raj Patel. Hello, Raj.
How are you? How's things?
Yeah, again, we've not had you on in absolute ages. I think the last one you were on was it the Stokes podcast?
I think it was like 1946 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, when you were a young whippersnapper in your very early 30s.
That's right. I'm good. I'm glad to be back anyway.
And now a permanent fixture.
Yes.
Let's hope so.
Yes.
Right. We've saved the best till last, I think, on this one. A man who is so famous, he's known to the Twitter world simply as the other Geoff. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sir Geoff Hollefreund. I have said that right, haven't I?
Close enough, Gim. Close enough. Greetings from the farthest reaches of the Commonwealth, gents.
A colonial commoner.
I'm so far away. I'm eight hours behind you. So you're going to tell me from the future what's going on with Arsenal.
Diaby's back.
Give me your lotto numbers too.
Right.
Give me the lotto numbers, boys.
Okay, Diaby's injured. see.
Oh no, he's back again.
Well, that.
Oh no, he's injured.
He lasted all of about 30 seconds.
Exactly.
Right, as we always like to bring you the latest news and info regarding the Arsenal. So we'll go straight over to Danny, who's going to fill you in on all the latest news and injury scores from across the board.
You know what, mate? Epitaph.
Yes.
He just sent a question. How many epileptics can you get into a Mini? As many as you like, they'll all fit.
Oh, God.
You shitbag. If he wasn't epileptic himself, that wouldn't be allowed. Right, I've decided to cut down the results because they even bore me. So, FA Youth Cup, we lost the first leg 2-1. We lost the second leg 1-0 at Arsenal. I think we played all right. Lost 3-1 and we're out. Arsenal under-21s, played Chelsea again. They came to Arsenal. They beat us 2-1. Never mind. One game to go in our 17th, and luckily, relegation doesn't come in the under-21s league until next season. Some people said it comes in this season and we're down. We're not. It's next season. Next away game is the last game of the season this Friday at Newcastle. And the under-18s haven't played recently, and their next game is this Saturday away at Wolves, and it's an 11 a.m. kickoff, and they have one more game after that, the rescheduled West Ham game, and there you go. That's it. Done.
God, that was short and to the point. Is it
was.
because all of our teams are doing so shit?
Oh, we've called it the Gimli penis section because it's short and to the point. And I wrote it all in orange.
Brilliant. I really don't know what to say to that.
Best enough. I'll pretend it didn't happen.
I already have. We'll kick off tonight's show by talking about our 3-0 away win against Hull City. We'll go straight over to Kris for his analysis on the game. Kris?
Yeah, it was fairly routine in the end, wasn't it, really? I was fairly confident pre-game. I thought we'd have enough to beat them, but obviously there's always the jitters when you go away from home. One thing that really shines up is just how much better and how much different we are a team when we've got Ozil and Ramsey in the same side. Suddenly Giroud looks like he can actually trap a ball, actually looks like he can be bothered to move around a bit. And midfield-wise, it's so much more fluid. And when we get the ball, there's always seems to be a forward pass on the momentum's always forward. And it just, I hate to say it, but it just makes you think, what if? But we won't go there. And also, I thought a certain goalkeeper made his case loud and clear about who may well play in the cup final. I thought Szczesny was really, really good, very commanding. You could tell he was trying to sort of make a gentle nudge to the manager that to remind him that he's going to be around for a cup final. So there wasn't really anything that could have gone wrong apart from poor old Mikel's looks. Bless him. But yeah, it was a good performance, and we did everything right, in my opinion.
See, I don't know about you guys, but having watched most games this season, it was definitely one of the more enjoyable. Just recently, it seems to me like I've been hiding behind the sofa or shouting obscenities at the TV or whatnot. But this one was definitely enjoyable, wasn't it, Raj?
Definitely. It was a game that we've needed for quite a few weeks. We've had such a torrid time over the last month or so. It was something we needed, a 3-0 win, goals from Ramsey and Podolski. There's nothing much more to say, really.
Aaron Ramsey as well. I think Jace will go over to you with this one. Him being a Welsh boy, he had the most touches of the ball, 104, and he had the joint most shots on target, which was 3. He did well, didn't he?
He was superb. I mean, his general ambition around the pitch to make a tackle, to get involved with play, the intent he shows in a run. He's a standard performer for us this season, and I think a few other players should take note. People saying Giroud had a better game than normal. Do you know what? I tend to disagree. He did great for the second goal, but as soon as he passed the ball, he just stood there. He made no attempt to get into the box. On the first goal, his movement is poor. He's about 8 yards outside the box. No attempt to get inside the box if the goalkeeper makes a save. As a striker, he should be in the he should be all over the box like a tramp over a sandwich. The guy should really be showing some ambition. But it's only Ramsey and Ozil that seem to show that ambition. He's a cunt.
Geoff, is that something you'd agree with?
Yeah, I mean, I thought he looked better than he has recently. But yeah, I think that's really down to Ozil and Ramsey bringing out the best of all the players around them. And you could see everyone had a spring in their step. There was some confidence through the side. So it was a bit better, but we've got some guys who he's played a lot of games this season, and he's just sort of lost his way a bit recently. And so if he can pick it up, that so much the better. It was it was better. It wasn't the best out of him yet, but that's the way it is.
And Danny, a feature that we've not done for quite some time, Ozil Watch. How was his performance on the day?
It was mesmeric. If you want, I'll give you a few little stats here, just clicking on it. He had 85% pass accuracy, 45 touches, 1 foul, 2 dribbles, 1 tackle, and a rating of 6.6. But I think, oh God, what's that? I think I just coughed up a bit of tooth. Nice.
Right, Mikel.
Yeah, conveniently.
He's slow too.
But I think it's. I made some notes and then I rewrote my notes to try and summarise them, and now I can't read my own handwriting. How bad is that? But I put a very bitty first half, and I thought the first half was made me think that the cup final may be trickier than what it actually is going to be. I know they're not going to have Jan, Long, or Jelavic playing, which is probably good for us. But then I thought, well, the other two they got coming in, because I'm been a Pete Borough fan. Boyd was at Borough and he used to play up front, and I think they played him on the left-hand side, or sort of like a kind of Podolski role at times. And he's not scored many goals this season, but I was just quite surprising because he was really good in League One about 5 years ago. So I don't know what's gone wrong with him there. But the Hull played that game and they're out to kick us as much as possible, which was worrying me a little bit too much. But apparently Arteta's dentist was over the moon with that. But the last time I saw a tooth come out like that was in, I think, UFC number 3, where you had a bloke called Keith who was a karate bloke, and he kicked the sumo in the face and his tooth come out. That's one for the UFC fans. But that was wonderful. Having Ozil back, though, wow, it just instantly, I felt more reassured. It was like the old days when Thierry Henry weren't playing or Ian Wright weren't playing. We thought, oh, we're not going to win here. But the moment those two come back, you felt, we're going to win this. the calming in midfield. Everybody seemed to be playing to their best. The counter-attacking was back on like it'd never been away, which is partly going to be down to Ramsey as well, and partly because Podolski is back. Like I've been saying all season, if you build it, he will come. Podolski playing on the left-hand side, scoring the goals, making the runs, doing brilliant. And I think that's about 500 goals in 7 games he's scored now, or maybe that's just me on FIFA. Podolski was just absolutely immense, and play him all season. And anyone else noticed the fact that Wenger has now started to play 4-4-2, a version of 4-4-2? Because we only think from memory, we only went back to play in this formation, or started playing this formation, to add in Fabregas. But Fabregas, as we all know, left a few years ago. And now we're still playing a formation which is mainly there to help the likes of Fabregas. But I think that has shown that if you play Podolski, just offer the striker in a kind of Bergkamp hole, he can do that. And Ozil can also play that role, but they can also swap left to right, and a Cazorla. So the lineup at the weekend was Giroud up front, Cazorla on the right, Podolski on the left, Ozil in the middle. Now the beauty thing of that, all 3 of those players can all play left. All 3 of them can play in the hole behind Giroud, and 2 of them can play on the right-hand side. And then you've got Ramsey coming in and slipping in there. Just imagine if Wilshere was fit and Walcott was fit, we'd have won this league ages ago. But I'm just not. I'm now completely unworried about the FA Cup final, because there's no way Hull are going to beat us. And I will tweak the nipples of fate all day long. I'm going to put a big wad of cash on us to win it, because Hull are shit. They went out there to kick us. I thought that bloke they had at right back, El Hamandi, was an absolute C word. Effing useless. No, fucking useless. Don't have to curb my language on that one. All he did, he was like a League 2 player going out there trying to kick it people, because he hasn't got the talent to do anything else. The bloke was a disgrace.
It's like I am when I play FIFA. I just get about 3 players sent off a game.
And also, it's cheery to see that Harper, who was brilliant when he stays at Newcastle, Harper is going to be their goalkeeper, and I thought he was very, very poor. And they had no one to come on. And then you take out their 2 main strikers from this game, who were average, and bring in the 2 they're going to be playing. I think we've got nothing to worry about. And also, Monreal and Santi, I think at times they looked good down the left-hand side, which was nice to see. I mean, Santi went on the left because he didn't play the whole game. Go on.
I was just going to say, Raj, do you agree with what Danny said?
He's absolutely spot on. I think one thing that we need to big up now is Podolski, because I'm a real huge fan of his, and I know there's a lot of people, a lot of fans who don't rate him anymore, and think he should go at the end of the season and stuff. But maybe it's me ruling with my heart rather than my brain. But I still think he's got a future at the club, and if we just play him right, he'll score loads of goals. I really rate him. He's a fantastic kind of squad member as well. He's always cheerful and everything, and I think we should just stay faithful with him.
I think he's one of those players that when shit comes to shove, he'll roll his sleeves up and get stuck in. Over to you next, Geoff. Do you go with what Raj said?
Absolutely. I'm a big fan of Podolski as well, and I don't agree with these fans that are sort of saying he needs to move on. A wonderful player, and what an instinctive finisher. I mean, he is just fantastic. But one other observation I had about the game that Danny kind of reminded me of is that we looked in the chances they got. We looked like we were playing that high line again, which I think we've kind of gone back and forth a bit this season. You know, earlier in the season with some of our defensive stability, we sat back a little bit, and then later on in the season, some of the blowouts that we've seen, we played a bit more of a high line, and I thought we played that well against Hull. And they obviously couldn't capitalize, but also I think part of that again is Ramsey and Ozil coming back. They just such a threat. They're so electric in their movement that even if we do play the high line, we can gamble a bit because we know we've got that speed and that movement up front. And I thought that was something interesting as well, that the few chances, like I said, they were sort of playing those balls in behind a bit, and we were able to neutralize that and counter.
And Kris, have you ever seen anything like it where the hoardings got blown onto the pitch? It was not the easiest of conditions to play the game, was it?
Oh, disgraceful scenes, unbelievable. It was quite funny, really. The only anything that would have improved that slightly is if it had taken a whole player's head off. That would have been quite fun.
Fatty Huddleston.
Oh, that would have been awesome, wouldn't it? It was pretty bizarre, wasn't it? Really strange. Considering it's a stadium that is fairly quote-unquote modern, you would think that they'd have it built up enough. The only time I can ever remember a game being that blustery, do you remember we played at Stoke a couple of years ago? I think it was an evening game. I don't think it was the Ramsey game, but it was certainly one of those type evening games. That place is like a fucking fridge when the wind goes through it. That's the only place I can think that's similar. But it was quite funny looking back now.
So is there anything anybody wants to add, thoughts on the game or things that you thought we could have done better, or things that have impressed you about the game?
Well, I'm just doing a little thing here, working on the goals per minute for the likes of Podolski. In the Premier League, he's played 900 minutes, 8 goals. That's 1 goal every 112 minutes, which isn't too bad. But then, I won't say if anyone had any idea, because none of you have. Giroud played 2,834 minutes, scored 14 goals. That's a goal every 202 minutes compared to every 112 for Podolski. But we have to say that he has played 4 of those goals to come against Hull and West Ham, and then against West Ham earlier in the season, so that's a little bit shit. But then all season, in all competitions, Podolski has scored 1 goal every 105 minutes.
See, the thing is, right, if he banged in goals like he banged ugly birds, right, then maybe, and I mean just maybe, he might have a place in the team. But if someone says to me, who would you rather keep in the summer, Podolski or Giroud, then I'd rather have Podolski. I mean, people might think I'm off my rocker for saying that, but I genuinely...
Totally agree, all day long. At least look at Podolski's ambition to get in the box. We had a bit of drive on Sunday, which we've been lacking for a while. And, it's no surprise that the people scoring the goals are the ones who actually get into the box and get in positions where they can be at the end of a knockdown or pass. I mean, Giroud's done okay for this season. I can't knock him too much, but he's just not good enough.
Raj, I understand you've got something to say, Ari Giroud, haven't you?
Well, what you said about choosing between Giroud and Podolski, I mean, I think my attitude is that we don't get rid of either of those 2 players this summer. This is not the summer where we start getting rid of players. We've got to actually add to them this year. So keep them both, and let's try and work out how we can use Podolski to his best ability.
I mean, what do you boys think about adding players? Do you think we should be getting rid of anybody? I mean, we've got a little bit on this later on in the show, but is there anyone that stands out to you that, isn't making the grade and should be shipped out? Kris?
I'm just trying to think then when you said that. In the current squad that's not on loan or general?
Yeah,
we've got quite a few leaving. Some are leaving on their contracts are up. For Fabianski, his contract is up. Viviano, his loan will be up. Yeah. Sagna looks like he'll be off. Who else is on here?
Bentner's going, right?
Yeah.
Which is interesting with Bentner, because that stat about goals per minute, I'd love to see where his are. Because I think I saw online today that he's like 1 goal in every 78 minutes or something like that.
I've just done Giroud's one, and all season, all competitions, 1 goal every 186 minutes. Podolski's is 105. And I know he's played all season. The first half of the season, Giroud's record is going to be better. So we're not saying he should be shot or anything, but just trying you have to put it in some kind of perspective. But I'll just work out Bentner's one for you. You talk amongst yourselves.
Well, I did a cheeky little poll earlier in the week on the podcast account.
Was she nice?
No.
Steve set you up.
Yes. But no, in all seriousness, it was a question about Giroud, and I will release the results of that later. It's quite interesting. Before we move on to our next topic then, which is indeed a competition, I just want to get what your thoughts are on 4th place and if you think we can still do it, because Everton did beat Man U by 3 goals and they looked pretty good, didn't they? Jason, do you think we're still in with a shout for 4th? Can we push on and get that Champions League spot?
Of course we can. No problem. We Newcastle next, Norwich last game of the season. I can't remember who's in between. Is it WBA?
Newcastle, Norwich, and I should know because I'm looking at
West Brom.
Yeah,
it is. It's WBA, yeah.
Yeah, if we don't...
Bullshit.
If we don't beat those 3 teams, we don't fucking deserve to be in it. It's as simple as that. And you just got to go out there, we got 4 games left this season. I'm expecting 4 wins. No ifs or buts. These guys are going to deliver now. We've got an exciting summer coming up. Another new war chest. So...
Are you a Cardiff City boy, Jace?
No. Fuck
You're Swansea, aren't you? How about this last game of the season? What if Norwich need to beat us so they stay up and Cardiff go down? Would you be happy with Arsenal losing if we'd already got 4th place?
No, I got to be honest with you. I'd like to see fucking Cardiff City burned to the ground, the bastards. A bigger bunch of cunts you'll never meet in your life.
Say what you mean. Don't hold back on our behalf.
Oh, okay. Fucking horrible. I can live here as well. It's not good. I get called you Jack Bastard wherever I go. Just because I was born there.
You want to set up your own call centre, don't you?
No. Right, get off. Leave me alone.
Right. I've just
worked out Bendy's thing, if you're interested. Goal every 209 minutes this season. That's 2 goals.
Not good.
Christ.
Oh, dear.
Right. As many of you who follow our Twitter account will know, we hit the magical 1 millionth hit on our website last weekend. First and foremost, I'd like to thank our wonderful listeners of this show and let you guys know that without you, a Bergkamp Wonderland would have probably died on its arse last Christmas. But I digress. To celebrate this wonderful achievement, we have a competition with the prize courtesy of friend and panellist Gav from She Wore a Yellow Ribbon, who is at She Wore on the Twitter account, for those of you who don't already follow. So over to Gav for news on the prize and how you can win it.
Well, what you do is you slags, you do this and you do that.
We're gonna fuck you up, you cunt!
You bastards!
Ponytail.
You don't know you're born!
You fucking AKP cunts!
Well, this is the bit where we now slip that little bit in. So go on in, Gim, carry on. I might even leave that bit in because it's quite funny.
To celebrate this wonderful achievement, we have a competition with a prize courtesy of friend and panellist Gav from She Wore a Yellow Ribbon, who is at She Wore on Twitter, for those who don't already follow. So over to you, Gav, for news on the prize and how you can win it.
Well, firstly, congratulations to everybody involved in the podcast for hitting 1 million hits. Absolutely brilliant. Love being on the show. Love everybody involved in it. What I'm going to do, if you follow me on Twitter or on Facebook, you know at the moment I'm selling a few bits and pieces. Got some lovely polo shirts up for sale at the moment. So I will give away a polo shirt to the first person who can tweet to myself, which is at SheWore, which is my favourite ever FA Cup game. Wish you all the best of luck and get on with the rest of the show, you lazy bastards.
Cheers, Gav.
Oh, lovely, Gav. You beautiful human being, you.
Thank you. What a legend he is.
And you don't look like that bloke off of Derek at all.
No, not at all. Oh my God, I can't believe you just said that. You just totally chucked me off my stride now. Right,
Polish thing.
It seems to me that one of the most enjoyed features of previous podcasts has been to look to the transfer windows and assess what we may need, what we've been linked with, and what gossip we might have heard. I'll kick off the segment by going to Raj and asking what players do you think need replacing and what areas should we be strengthening in? Raj.
Really, I mean, I'm on my knees to the club now. We need a striker. We've needed a striker for 4 transfer windows. We haven't replaced Robin van Persie. Sonogo isn't good enough. Giroud has done better than expected. He's played above his level, so I won't criticise him whatsoever. But he's just a second striker at a club, and we need a number 1 striker who can score 30 goals a season, and we need to spend money to do that. We are begging for this. I mean, there can't be a fan out there who doesn't agree with that.
No, I don't think so. Kris, your thoughts on this?
We desperately need to strengthen now. The worry I've got is that we generally, the last 2 or 3 seasons, probably even longer than that now, we seem to be waiting until the last minute to get our deals done. I know the reasons why a lot of clubs do it with the transfer window, particularly, Arsene himself is a particular favourite of this. Leave it to the last minute, you'll get a cheaper price. But when we're dealing in like 1 million here, 2 million there, 3 million here. I mean, we missed out on Xabi Alonso, if you remember that far back, because of 2 million. Mark Schwarzer, okay, less high profile, but at the time was a player we really needed. We refused to pay that extra million. My kind of big worry is that we've got a World Cup coming up this summer. Not only have we got a World Cup, we've got a World Cup in Brazil, which is going to mean more travelling, which is going to mean longer preparation time for the international teams, which is less preparation time for the the teams back at home, which automatically means we're going to come back for pre-season late. We've got this American tour, so we're going to have to ship players across. All of that combined means that my biggest worry is that we've got a really short window to get the players in that we need. And bear in mind also, if you look at the teams we're competing against, if you can put Man United in that bracket, it's quite funny to think about it, but they are technically still competing on a similar level to us. They're going to need to strengthen massively. Chelsea are always going to buy players. City, if they don't win the league, they're going to buy players. Liverpool, even if, don't even want to think about it, but if they do the unthinkable, I'm sorry.
No, that is a fine. Right?
Yeah, I agree.
Last time you were on, we did if you said Arsene Wenger's name, £1 literally had to go in the pot, and I think we got up to £10, and that went in well, not I would say memory
Your
of
fucking pocket.
No, it didn't. No, it actually went to help the aged. I was quite fitting, I think.
And Steve thanks us for every penny.
Yeah.
I won't mention them again, I promise. But if that happens, they're going to look to strengthen. Some Tim Bob Sunday League team down the road from us, they're probably going to want to strengthen with all the players that nobody else wants, and they'll pay 4 times as much. But they're going to strengthen, and Everton are probably going to strengthen. So if you look at it from that perspective, every team competing against us is going to strengthen. The market that we're in means that the market we're purchasing players from is going to be dramatically smaller. Players are going to want higher wages, and particularly if we do what we have done in the past, where we've had a European competition and we've tried to buy players that have had outstanding World Cups. We generally don't go for the marquee players. We'll go for the players that have had decent World Cups that have gone under the radar a little bit, usually African. And even those players, there's going to be competition for them. If we get to, August the 31st, with the squad we've got now, plus, I don't know, let's say 2 players that we've probably never heard of, which, without being funny, that's perfectly possible. We've seen it before. If that happens again, I'm not sure there's an Ozil waiting for us this season. I'm not sure. And we certainly are not going to be able to get a striker if we're scratching around on August the 31st. So my biggest sort of, like Raj said, on my knees to the club now. The money's there. We've got the time. If we haven't been scouting already, which I would find amazing if we haven't, but if we haven't, we need to get on it now, and we need to get these players like Podolski last year, like Giroud before that. We need to get these players agreed in principle and done. And I'm just a bit worried that we're focusing so much on trying to keep the likes of sort of Sagna, and when we really should be looking at the longer term and getting these players in early.
No, I agree with that entirely. Geoff, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, no, I'm glad that Kris brought up the World Cup, because it just seems, especially in recent windows, that we're so fucking reactive to stuff going around, and we seem to get bullied. So we'll go in for a player and a team will say no, and we go, oh, okay, right? It just seems like that. Obviously I don't have any insider information, but having that World Cup, that just to me strikes me as another excuse to not get our players. So it's very, very critical to have a plan. I think we always seem to have a plan. I think we're a bit rubbish at carrying it out sometimes, and we do need to get those 2 or 3 players in the door before the World Cup. Otherwise we're in a situation where it will be August 31st and we'll be waiting to see someone come through the door that we're not expecting. So we got to get on this one early, absolutely early.
Jace, your thoughts?
I totally agree with what the boys have said, actually. We must have targets there set, that we want at this moment in time. I love Arsene Wenger. I worship the ground he walks on. But this summer, it's time to shit or get off the pan. Let's not mess about with money. Let's get in there, get these guys signed early. Let's no more last 2 hours the transfer window excitement. Let's have a nice boring last day of August. Let's get the job done early doors. So all you hear from the club is war chest this, war chest that. It's no good in the bank. We want to be competing at the highest level. Well, let's go out and spend some money, get the targets in early doors, and, give the fans something to cheer about. And that's all I got to say on that.
And Raj, you're a little bit more in the know of these things, the financial matters and whatnot. Could you give a rough estimate on how much you think the club has or can spend this summer?
Well, I mean, yesterday they came out with the fabled war fest, which they unveiled again every year in May when the season ticket renewals are due. And that was £70 million, but, you know, the balance sheet says £130 million. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't expect us to spend all of that money. But this summer, there's no excuses. There's absolutely no excuses to go out and buy these players that we need. Been saying this for years now, that we're only 2 or 3 players short of a really proper kind of title-winning team. And it's last chance saloon for Arsene Wenger, I reckon. So you better get on with it.
And you said about Giroud not being good enough, or, you know, we need to improve on him as a main striker. To get back to the poll I mentioned earlier, I actually asked, can we win the league next year with Giroud as our main striker? And for all the people going, oh no, well, you just get the answer you want to hear and put that as a retweet, I put the answer to yes as a retweet and no as a favourite, so it would be a bit more balanced and fair. And the results of it is actually 16 people think that we can win the league next year with Giroud as our main striker, and 149 think we cannot. Danny, the facts speak for themselves, don't they?
They certainly do. That's a very emphatic victory for him not being the main striker next season. But, you know, we've just all signed this massive new deal with Puma, which is one of the biggest kit deals in the history of known kit deals in the known and unknown universe, which I think is quite impressive. I mean, I did hear there's something gone down in Alpha Centauri, but at the speed of light, it's going to take 500 years to get here, so never mind about that. Puma actually have got deals with 5 of our players, Cazorla, Giroud, Arteta, Rosicky and Sagna. Did you know that?
No.
If you go to the Puma website, and it says that under athletes and then football, other players that Puma sponsor: Balotelli, Marco Reus, Fabregas, Aguero, Yaya, Falcao, Buffon, Chiellini. Oh, sorry.
Chiellini.
I wouldn't think I've got an Italian granddad. Dante, Vidic, Carrick, Affalay, Diamanti, Liechtenstein, I just know him off FIFA as a right winger, Verratti and Patrico. Now, I was thinking, out of all those players, we've been linked to Mario a lot. We've been linked to Marco Reus a lot. Fabregas we're going to bring up later. Aguero is leaving Man City, but it's almost definitely going to Real Madrid. Yaya, I don't think there's any much chance of him moving. Falcao is definitely on the move this summer, so he might be one that can come. So just looking at that list, and Affalay is someone we've always liked, who was doing wonders. I think he was playing for PSV in Holland, and then he went to Barcelona and he's done bugger all there. So I'm not sure if Barcelona have sold him on or just loaned him out again for a second or third season. But there alone, if Puma can pull a deal, and we can sign Balotelli and Falcao, or, I mean, imagine having Aguero at the club. That would just be absolutely immense. But then the last player on the list is someone called Marta, and that's probably the one that Wenger will sign, and very few people will probably understand who Marta is. Do you want me to tell you who she is? She's the best footballer in the world, and she's a lady. So she's probably better than Bentner up front anyway. But that's who we'll probably Puma will end up getting us out, and Wenger will go, yeah, he sounds wonderful. But there you go, so I'd like those two.
Chris, I understand you've got a question to ask Raj, haven't you?
Yeah, just a brief one. With that 130 or 70, whichever it is, just wondering if Raj knows, does that cover the wages involved in signing a player, or is that just outright transfer fees?
That's what the clubs say that it includes wages and stuff, so it's not as if we've got huge amounts of money to spend on players. I mean, Danny's just reeled off a whole load of players, but those top 4 or 5 we're not going to get Costa or Aguero or whatever, but we need to get some players. But years ago I always thought if you had £70 million you could spend 2 lots of 35 on 2 players, but it seems the rules have changed since then, and now they've brought in this kind of excuse that includes wages as well, which I think is a load of bollocks as far as I'm concerned.
That's what makes me wonder, sorry to interrupt, that's what makes me wonder whether we could potentially go for a player that is Premier League ready or Premier League experienced, where we would have to pay a fairly chunky transfer fee, but we might pay less on wages. Just off the top of my head, I'm sort of thinking in the kind of the Michu, Bonnie, I mean, that kind of bracket. I'm not saying that that's what we need, because clearly it's not. But I'm just wondering if the fans are always sort of claiming or always, up in arms that we don't sign anybody. I wonder if the club might sort of fuck us over in a different way this year and actually go out and sign 5 or 6 players, but they're all Premier League ready and they're all players that are sort of mid-range. So the money almost stays in the club and we just pay them higher wages. The only thing I can think that maybe won't happen with that is if we do that, surely players that are already at the club who are on lower wages would say, hang on a minute, you've signed this player who's no better than I am and he's on double my wages. So I guess it's catch-22, but I agree with Raj. I just can't see us going out and buying, Balotelli is probably the one that I could see, just because he's the one that's most likely available from a Milan, which a lot of other teams probably wouldn't touch. But I just can't see us doing even Ozil. I mean, I love Mesut to bits, but let's be honest, he wasn't our number one target at the start of the summer last year. I think we got him because, I'm not saying no one else wanted him, but no one else had the capacity to do the deal when we did, and therefore we got him. I really don't think he was our first target. It was pretty clear last summer that Suarez was the one we wanted, because we pissed that one up the wall. We missed out on Higuain and God knows who else because we threw all our eggs in one basket.
I'm not sorry. I'm not saying that we should go out and spend £35 million on loads of different players and stuff like that. I mean, I think we need to go out and buy a striker now. If it costs us £35 million, then great, do it. We have to.
Yeah.
But we can get. There are players out there that we can get at a reasonable price. I mean, I've got all these dodgy streams now, so I watch football all the time. And there's a player called Carvalho at Sporting Lisbon who is an absolutely brilliant midfielder, proper half-tackling midfielder. Yeah. And he's up apparently for sale this year, and why not Lukaku as well? I mean, why don't we put a decent bid in for him? He'd do well at Arsenal, I would have thought. So there are players out there.
He would do brilliantly, but there's no way that prick at Stamford Bridge would say, if he wouldn't give us Demba Ba, there's no way he'd give us Lukaku.
No, definitely not. But I think we're all sat here and I think we're all guilty of it every summer that we go, oh yeah, we're going to get this player, we're going to get that player. I think one of the things we do need is a central defensive midfielders. One of the names that's going to be mentioned in that is Jan Villa. Yeah, I think,
Sorry.
We're all going to be talking about him. Yet the likelihood is we'll probably end up with Mohamed Diaby from West Ham. And you're thinking, well, I want to go out and have full-on Nando's and all I'm getting is chicken cottage. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like we should be shopping at Waitrose, yet we find ourselves pushing a cart around Lidl.
Looking at the bins at the back of Tesco's more like.
But what will make us? What do you think will make us change our mentality? I mean, you
finishing
could,
fifth.
I mean, you could say the same about. Let's have a look at Man City. Like when Man City first got all their money, they had one, maybe 2 seasons where they still had to buy, like Gareth Barry or I was going to say Frank Sinclair. Not Frank Sinclair. What's the other boy called?
Betty.
I forgot his name. The winger anyway. It's Sinclair.
Scott Sinclair.
That's the Badger.
God, is he still playing football?
Well, Swansea's reserves, wasn't he? I don't know where he is. But they still had to buy like him, and even James Milner to a lesser extent. It was only really a couple of years ago when they really went and strengthened and bought in the likes of Aguero or Xhaka, Tevez, those sort of players. So is it a question of the fact that now we've got the Ozil deal done? Does that springboard larger deals? I mean, what is the trigger point that makes a club go for big players? Even Man United, they haven't really bought what I would call a marquee name for a number of years, probably since going back to sort of Rio Ferdinand. I mean, I don't know what it is.
Or Veron,
yeah. I mean, what? Even Barcelona. I mean, I won't go into them, but when they're in the market, I would say it's only really your likes of Real Madrid or your Bayern Munich or a foreign club that wants to splash cat. I mean, Inter Milan, my team in Italy, they seem to do it a lot. Well, they'll go out and just try and buy big names to make statements. But
Chris, I just wanted to agree with that, but I also want to say a big trigger is having a buttload of money. So and we obviously haven't had that in the recent past, but we're starting to turn that corner, and maybe we're a bit miserly with it, but having that money definitely enables us. I also want to make a quick point to Danny's comment around Puma athletes. it's pretty well documented that you do see sponsors coming in and helping make deals happen and kicking in money. I think there was some comments around Gareth Bale and Adidas going to an Adidas club. I know we've seen whenever a rumor around Messi potentially moving, it's an Adidas thing as well. So there might be, I can see that with Puma especially, we've got to be their marquee team along with Dortmund. Wanting to have a marquee player there that's marketable in the Puma brand, that could be worth some money to them over and above what the kit deal's worth.
And Danny, I understand you've got some names of players there that from your website we've been linked with. I'd like to ask you, who is a realistic target for us to play as a striker?
Well, that's the point. I mean, Mario Mandzukic is the only striker they've got listed, but this is one of my favourite sites, Transfer Market. There's no E at the end of that, .co.uk. And they have probability ratings for players. And this is how uncertain, even a popular site like that sometimes know their stuff, they have a 42% probability of assigning a Rubin Kazan player called Sardar Azmoun. I think he is Iranian. And then the next one is Sebastian Young of Eintracht Frankfurt, who are having a fire sale because they were fighting for the top 3 in Germany, and now they've just done absolutely. They're like the Newcastle; they can't buy a win. And these are 20%, and they've got Lars Bender, who we all know that's another one we've been looking at, 19%. Mandzukic, who I've already said is 18%, and then we got the next most popular one, which is the 5th most popular one that they think we're linked with, Sadio Mane of Redbird Salzburg, who's a left winger. Have you heard of him? Because I fucking haven't.
I have, but that's because I'm sad and watch a lot of foreign football. But
so do I. And the Austrian league isn't really on anywhere, is it? But I've never heard of him. And then you've got Josip Dermic of Nuremberg, who I think he's not too bad, but he's still a bit young. And then Marko Vucinic, who's a 30-year-old Juventus striker who we were linked with last summer. And then to top it all off, we got Kevin Prince Boateng, for fuck's sake, who is a self-proclaimed prince. He gave himself that name at Port when he was at Spurs. I think he played 14 games, no goals. I did have his thing. Oh, here we go. I did have his link open. Ports for Spurs. This is 24 games, no goals from a midfielder. Absolutely ridiculous. But he did do all right when he went to Milan, because they went to Dortmund and then Portsmouth and then Milan. 17 goals in 100 games, and then at Schalke this season he's got 7 in 31. But that just shows the kind of, even the people that are presumably in the know have got no idea about who we're going to sign. So how are us mere mortals meant to have any idea on who we're going to sign? Because I've got no bloody idea. And we're just also... And plus, I don't like the fact that the club are shouting about, hey, we've got £70 trillion. And everyone goes, well, this one-legged player we now want £500,000 for him because we've now got money and no one else wants him. So I think the club need to shut up about how much money we've got and spend more time keeping it quiet and then going out and searching out players rather than shouting from the rooftops, yeah, Messi, Ronaldo, Rooney, we'll have all of you, because it makes a rod for our own back.
And Geoff, I know you want to speak briefly about the strikers, don't you?
Yeah, if you look at it and you say on the surface that Bentner's on his way out and we keep Giroud and Yaya Sanogo, we could look then that we probably want 2 more guys. What about bringing Joel Campbell back from loan? And then you're down to needing 1. So let's say if you said Campbell, Yaya, Giroud, and Mandzukic, to me that's 4 guys that I think on the surface could go the distance next season. What do you guys think?
I don't think Sanogo's good enough. I think Sanogo shouldn't be part of the first team next season. He should go out and have a Premiership loan. Or get at least some loan games under his belt, but it has to be in the English league.
Well, it's worked well so many other times, hasn't it? When Ramsey went out on loan, he went back to Forest and Swansea, and then Cardiff. God, sorry, I shouldn't get those two mixed up. I just know they were in the Championship at the time. And then, like I said, Wilshere did it when he went to Bolton, and then Miachi did it when he went to Bolton.
Well, Miachi's never really done it, but he did go there.
He did.
But no, I think that's definitely the way forward. I think I would probably go for Kyle Jenkinson to be loaned out as well.
That's a Twitter question. Shall I merge that in seamlessly?
Oh yeah, do it.
Okie dokie. Right, who asked it? That's this one. That's that one. Linus Nilsson 86, good luck spelling that, says, reports saying Sagna to sign a new deal and Jenkinson to be loaned out. Who would suit as backup, or should Sagna, should Sagna be second choice right back? So I think I would get rid of Sagna, because I'm sick and tired of him being there. He's quite good on his day. He's very good, but I don't like the fact that he's so far forward the whole time. Yeah, I'd say Jenkinson out on loan, sell Sagna, and get. I love Coleman, but you can't justify spending 30 million quid on a right back unless you corrupt.
He is good though. He is a great player.
6 goals this season. He's fucking brilliant.
See, sorry, we're not going to replace like for like though. We've got to keep Sagna. I love him. He's an excellent player. And if he does go, we are not going to replace him with someone of similar quality. So what we're going to do is we're going to end up with a £3 million, £4 million player who's just going to take 2 years to get up to the levels that we require him to be in September. So no, I mean you've got to keep him. We've got to keep our good players.
Well, that's Sebastian Jung from Eintracht Frankfurt is a right back, and he's 23, and we've been linked to him for about 7 million quid. I think didn't you know a little bit about him, Kris?
I mean, I've seen a bit of him. I've watched a couple of Salzburg games. He's steady. He's steady. I would consider him more as a right wing back than a right back. I mean, he's not. He's another one of those that would be.
We're talking Young at the moment.
Oh, Young. Sorry. I thought you said sorry. My apologies.
The other one's at Salzburg. Is the other bloke a right back as well? The one at Salzburg.
The one I was thinking of was, maybe I got my names mixed up. I'll tell you what, I'll confuse you even further and chuck two in. I completely agree with what Raj just said. We'll end up with cheaper style. If you look at our last couple of right backs, Abou on
I'm
the cheap.
only here to see Abou.
Aren't we all? Even Sagna, let's be honest, what was he, 7 million from Osea?
Lauren as well.
Lauren as well. The two that I keep hearing time and time again are Aurier.
Yeah, that's the one I was going to say.
Toulouse, he's Ivorian, so he fits the profile. And there's a lad at Sochaux, who I actually really like, Costa, who's a French international. Now he would be a good buy. I actually thought he'd signed somewhere else, but I'm informed he hasn't. But
a good buy as in take over from Sagna, or take over while Jenkinson's out on loan.
100% ready to take over now. I mean, he's a French international. Well, Sochaux are likely to be, if they're not going to be relegated from the French First Division, they're going to be struggling. So they're not a well-off side. I would say you'd probably get him for in the region of 7 to 9 million. He's definitely ready. He's been linked with some big clubs, sort of in amongst Europe. I would say he's ready now. If Kieran Gibbs if you look at Gibbs when he first came in, everyone was like, not so sure. Don't know if he'll make the grade. Look at him now. Whereas Costa is 23 years old, so he's at the sort of that age where, he might make a few mistakes, but he's at the right end, or at the right stage of his career.
Oh, is this Sebastian we're talking about?
Sebastian Costa,
yeah. I'm just found him on here. Yeah, he said he can play right back, right wing, left back, or right midfield. He's 23. What's 1.76 m? I don't know.
Stick that into a convert.
It says he's French Italian as well.
Yeah, I've just looked up actually, interestingly, because I was convinced he'd gone somewhere else. Apparently he signed with Lille on the 29th of January, but the French Football Authority, French Financial Authority in football, say that when you're pissed, they refused the deal because Lille financially, fucked basically. So he went back to Sochaux. So that is why he didn't go. So ergo,
he's got a decent.
He'd be available, and we would, much like Gim said, he's in the kind of Lauren Abou stage. Where the trouble is, you get what you pay for. If you go out and you spend 3 or 4 million, we'll end up with another cliche.
You pay peanuts, you get monkeys.
Well, this is also true. I would be, if you said to me now, Sandy's going to move and you get Courtier, I would personally be happy. But I appreciate not everyone is as sad as me and watches French football week in, week out. So
and he's got the same agent as Giroud.
Well, there you go.
I don't know if that helps as well.
And obviously the manager's going to have quite a big sway in that as well, being a French player. But he would be the one if you can't, because as you said, Danny, Seamus Coleman's probably the best right back in the Premier League at the moment. You're not going to get him unless you pay a lot of money. Sadly, I think he'll end up at United. There isn't really any other right backs in the Premier League that I can think of that would be.
How about Southampton? And they must have someone worth stealing.
They've got Nathaniel Klein, who's again English under 21.
Shaw's down at Chelsea,
likes scoring own goals against us.
Yeah, he does. I think he's decent. He's the sort of player again that you probably wouldn't have to spend that much on. But is he an Arsenal player? I'm not convinced. Again, the English core it would work, but. Let's not forget, we've also got Bellerin, who, whilst we haven't seen him at the top level yet, he's technically probably the best right back we've got.
So maybe hold on to Sagna for another 3 years, and then it'd be between Jenkinson and Bellerin.
Ideally, from like on a personal opinion, I think you're right. Your right and left backs need to be three things. They need to be young. When I say young, playing wise, they need to be young, i.e., quick, fit, agile. They need to be positionally aware, and they need to be able to have good lungs. They need to be getting up and down that pitch, putting in crosses and getting back. And those three things Sagna has got in abundance. Whilst he's not the best crosser in the world, he has got all those attributes. And if you're going to let a player of that quality go, particularly if you let him go to Man City, which are a rival, you need to be bringing in quality. And whilst I like Jenkinson, I really do, and I think Bellerin will make it. Are they ready to be thrown in the deep end? When Kieran Gibbs came through, he had that natural kind of progression to take over from Clichy, and you almost want to bring in somebody that can work behind Sagna and then come into the squad when he's ready to move on.
I mean, one of the things you've got to ask yourself is, I read Sagna is asking for $100,000 a week and a 3-year deal. Should we commit to giving him a kind of deal like that so late in his career, Jason?
That's a no, then, is it?
What's he doing? Is he asleep?
He said he was back. Okay, Geoff.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I know.
Okay, Jason.
It's the time difference between England and Wales. Sorry, Jason.
I was on mute. Sorry, lads. To quote Raj, no. He's seen his best days. He's had a couple of leg breaks. He's been a great servant to us, and he's been a top player. But, he's not going to get any better. It's only downhill he's going to go now. Is it better to buy earlier rather than replace for double the money 2 years down the line? That's my opinion on it. I think, we can take a hit now while we get two strong centre halves and try to develop somebody. If these young French lads are ready, swap him. Leave Man City spunk all that money on him.
I think you've answered that. What else would you do? Would you wait for Bellerin to go through? Would you give Jenkinson a loan?
I think Jenkinson has to have football, and Bellerin's on the verge of the first squad. If the guys think he's ready to be a backup, bring him into the squad, give him games bit by bit, and then bring Jenkinson back, and Bellerin can go out on loan. He's been out on loan to Watford already. So they know what's happening in the squad. They see these players day to day. I just don't see Sagna getting any better. He's been a top servant to the club. If Man City are prepared to give him $150,000 a week or whatever it is, well, it's more than I would pay for him.
No. And, from past experience, Danny, we speak to John on a weekly basis, and he speaks very, very highly of Hector Bellerin, doesn't he? He scored this week as well. Am I right in saying that?
I think he was the one who scored the goal against Chelsea, the game that Diaby played 45 minutes, and I'm not going to take the piss out of Diaby. Well done for coming back, and fingers crossed he'll do well. But John knows his stuff when it comes to Spanish players and the youth players, and he says he's right up there in the top 5 youth players we have at the club.
I'd already sent Diaby a get well soon card, so that's going to go down really well. Geoff, we'll go over to you next and get your thoughts on the right back position.
Yeah, just a comment I'd like to make that no one's mentioned here is that up until Vermaelen came back, Sagna was our third choice center back this year. So keep that in mind. And I thought he did well there when we called upon him. So if Vermaelen goes, which I think he is going to go, I would keep Sagna one more year at least, because we need that coverage in the center back position as well. Otherwise, you're in a position where you've got to replace Vermaelen, you got to replace Sagna as a right back, but you also have to have that fourth choice center back that you've got to either bring up from the youth or find somewhere. So for me, Sagna, he's actually two players in one when we need him to be, and I just don't think the timing is quite right, especially if we can get Hector Bayer in. I can't say his name properly. It doesn't translate over here. But if we can, I've seen him play. He looks good. He looks really good. If we can just sort of keep Sagna around, bring those Jenkinson and Bellier in through, I think that's ideal. And then we've got a year between Vermaelen leaving and replacing him. Then we can start to look ahead and obviously Bakary has all the power right now with the end of his contract, but I'd like to keep him.
And with that in mind, we've talked about the possibility of Sagna maybe leaving in the summer. I'd like to discuss with you the other possibilities, what other Deadwood and who's possibly out of their way or out of the club this summer. Danny, can you see any players from this team that, would be surplus to requirements, i.e. Mikel Arteta?
I think this is going to be the season. We are going to finish fourth. I'm almost certain. We're back up to only 2 goal difference behind Everton now. We've got a much easier run into the season. I mean, Newcastle have lost 5 in a row, their worst run ever. And West Brom, they're falling on their arse, and Norwich, unfortunately, are shit. So I think there's going to be a massive clear out. There's still not many rumours on who our new goalkeeper is going to be, because we need a new goalkeeper. So we've got the 2 goalkeepers leaving. We're going to have, if they've got any sense, they'll send some players out on loan. I think Vermaelen is going to go because he can't be happy. I mean, he's not going to earn as much money if he goes somewhere else. Arteta's going to have to go. Diaby's contract, hopefully I think his contract's up next year, so he's not going to go, although we'd like to. I think Miachi is not worked out at the club. He's definitely should look at leaving the club. Zelalem.
No.
Sean joined in with that. Oh, that's lovely. I think he's one that he hasn't done as well in the youth and reserves as I'd have hoped, but he has just come back from injury, and we've got some really good players which we're going to talk about in a summer special. Isn't that the one you're doing, Gimli, about the youth players?
Yes, definitely. I think you might have just used the excuse to say Zelalem there.
No. We've got so many quality young players coming through, but I was reading in George Bird's Arsenal site, which is where we got all those results from, that they're having another clear out in the summer because the under-21s and the under-18s this season have been nothing other than absolutely terrible, mainly because when the first team has so many injuries, they take players from the under-21. The under-21 squad has got their no players because they've all gone to the first team. They take the under-18s, and then all these things are just messing up. I think we're so weak in so many places. So I think I was reading an article he did the other day where there's going to be so many players that are going to be let go. I know in the January transfer window we sent 3 players out on trial. There's had another 3 or 4 players that have been let go. I think there's just a massive window of change coming up. Is it a window of change? I don't know what it is. There's an opaque window.
Isn't it the window of possibility or something like that?
Window of uncertainty. That's the corridor of uncertainty.
Oh, there's corridors, windows, positivity, uncertainty. It's rife. Just on what you said, Danny, I know Thomas Vermaelen's agent this week actually came out and said that he had talks with Inter Milan, and he actually held talks with Napoli in January. So it does actually look like he is,
Inter on a massive rebuilding spree. They've already agreed to sign Vidic. They've been looking at Sagna. I'm going to call him Bakary from now on. I can't fuck that up, can I?
How long back?
How many long have we had him at the club? 6-7 years, and constantly just called him Sagna. And our mate French John, bonjour John, and he keeps saying to me, it's Sagna. And then other people have been tweeting the account saying it's Sagna. You don't know how to say it. I do. I just forget.
No, it's Gav, because it rubs off on you, because Gav calls Higuain Ijuan. He calls Aguero Aglero. It's actually a long-running joke among the boys. But no, we'll go straight over to Raj next. I mean, what players do you class as Deadwood that are in the squad? Who do you think will be on their way out?
Well, I mean, we've already said Bent is going to be on his way out, and good riddance, to be honest. I mean, I don't think there's many more that will leave. I don't rate Sanogo that much, to be quite honest. He hasn't really shown me anything that's going to prove anything to me in the next few months. So maybe loan him out. But as I've said 2 or 3 times already tonight, we just need to keep this squad together and just keep adding more on. You know, we've got this injury problem where we've got a small squad and players get injured all the time. We need to just expand the people on the lists, basically.
And we'll carry on then. We'll go to Geoff. Who are the players that you class as Deadwood?
Yeah, I tend to agree with Raj there. I don't think that there is a lot of Deadwood. We worked through it last few transfer windows, moving guys on. We still have a couple guys out on loan like Coquelin and Giroud. I think they're going to go. Vermaelen, as you guys rightly said, Bentner, not going to be sorry to see him leave. But I think they have gone about clearing out the squad and the comment about squad depth. I think, keep this squad together as much as possible. And then add a bit of numbers. We know when injuries strike, and they do strike us every season, that we want to have a bit of depth in the squad. So I would agree with what Raj is saying.
And Giroud has actually gone, hasn't he? Giroud.
Yeah.
He's signed with. It's not Hamburg, is it?
It's
someone like.
Yeah,
is it Hamburg? Yeah, I think he signed a fortnight ago with them. So. Just before you're writing your tweet to tell us that we've got it wrong, or Geoff got it wrong, you're going to feel like an arse because we've just corrected you. We'll move over to Jason next. What players do you class as Deadwood?
Well, Diaby. Is his contract up now at the end of the season?
Next year.
Next year. I'd love it if he could find a bit of fitness and, get right, but that's hoping. That's when I'm going to press stuff. Arteta's legs are going, but he could play a bit part for us next season. Thank God Bentner's going. That cunt needs to be fucking sent a rocket to the moon. But come on. We've spoken about him before. He's an utter cluster. I can't believe how somebody can fuck his career up quite so badly. But, we do need to keep the nucleus of the squad and add to it if we want to compete. So let's see who they can bring in. And if we have any surplus requirements, let them go late in the season.
And finally, on this one, Kris.
Yeah, there's not too much to add to what the guys have said. Just chucking a couple of other names for you. What happens to Shellstrom? Do we sign him permanently, or does he go back? Personally, I would add him because I think numbers is important. He's done enough in the brief appearances.
He's got great hair as well, which is always important.
And great skin, apparently, so I'm told. Weird. Emilio Viviano, obviously he'll be going back. I mean, the guy's not played, so I think that's pretty much nailed on.
It'd be nice to give him a game, the last game of the season against Norwich.
I think
get our £500,000 worth.
I'd play him in the final against Hull. Fuck it.
I think if fourth place is secure, I don't even think he'll play them, because you got to think of it. One of the keepers is not going to play the cup final, so I don't think that they'll leave him out. But the only other thing
how much we've paid him about £1 million in wages, £500,000 in transfer fees and in loan fees. Well done.
The only thing I can think, maybe, and this is a bit of a red herring, the only thing I can think is maybe he was brought in this season with a view to being the number 2 next season. It's the only thing I can think that we got him on loan to sort of get him used to the Premier League.
Sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
We could have posted him a bench from IKEA and he could have sat on that for a year and saved us £1.5 million.
I think, those are the two that stand out with the first team. Miachi, I think, is probably going to move on. And also, there's a couple of players that people have probably forgotten about. Ignacy Mikel, he's not really played at Leicester. I think he'll move on. I think you'll probably see Joel Campbell either come back or move on. I think it'll be one or the other. We've also got Benik Afobe out on loan. I think he'll move on. And sadly, and I do mean this sadly, I think Chuba Akpom might be another one of the younger players to move on, because he's at the stage now where he needs to be playing games, even in a sort of Sanogo role, in and around the first team, and he's not been given that chance to actually play. So I think he might move on. Even Thomas Eisfeld, every time I've seen him for the youngsters, he's always impressed me. But how long does a player of that sort of age look to stick around? I mean, he'd probably walk into most lower Premier League sides, first 15, 16 players. So he might look to move on. The one I will chuck in to defend, and I wouldn't want to see him move on, it is actually Arteta. I know you guys are not, or some of you guys are not fans, but I genuinely think that the criticism of him has been slightly over the top. Granted, his legs are going. I think he would admit that, and I think that's part of the reason why. And his teeth. I think that's part of the reason why we started playing him in the position we have. Because it was cheaper than buying a player to fill that position, but also I think Wenger's got that idea of, well, dropping back when his legs go, he's more likely to adjust to that role. But I do still think he's got a place in the squad, and if he's happy, I would rather have a squad with 2 or 3 players like Arteta, Kjellstrom, Rosicky. I'd rather have those sort of players in our squad than not be in our squad and then have to rely on kids that we seemingly don't want to play. I mean, that's the mark of a team that's got a good squad and strength and depth. Granted, people like Vermaelen, I think for his own career, he's going to have to move on, and it's with a heavy heart, because I've always liked Vermaelen. I think any other club, he's been really unlucky, really, with his injury and his loss of form just at the wrong times. But those sort of players have to play, so they'll have to move on. Whereas someone like Arteta, at this stage of his career, I don't think he would be that fussed about playing every week, so I would still have him around, personally.
But like we've said on this show before, we've ruined Mikel Arteta. I mean, probably, in my mind, I think the best thing for him to do is, retire, go back to Spain, sit in a plastic chair by the side of the road, and, live off all that he's earned. Right, next up, I'm going to give you a list of players that Arsenal have been linked with in the media this week. All I want from you guys is your opinion on them by answering yes or no to whether you'd like to see them in the red and white next season. We will talk a little bit about each one, whether you'd like them, whether they're not, whether it will happen, whether it won't happen, and I'll give you a player, a person. So we will start off with Raj, and Barcelona's Alexis Sanchez. Would you want him, and could it happen?
Yes and no.
Fantastic. Kris, Barcelona's Pedro.
Yes, 100%. Yes, please.
And do you think it could happen?
No. No.
Okay. Jason, we're going to go for Bayern Munich's Jerome Boateng.
Yes. I think it could happen.
Fantastic. Well, I think they pointed out last night with Jerome Boateng, he's not exactly the best positionally. But, however, am I right in saying that he can play all the way across the back four?
Yeah.
And he can play right back, left back, centre back. So,
and he's got experience, and with the 2 centre halves we've got now, we've got a bit of leadership, at the back, with the likes of Flamini, etc. It's harder to move out of position when you got a little Frenchman threatening to break your legs, isn't it? So, why not?
And do we know if that's the same Jerome Boateng that was or Boateng, for instance, that was at Man City? Is that the same player? Or is that a completely different Boateng?
I think there's 2 of them, and I think that is the one.
The one at Man City, did you say? Yeah, it's the same one,
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we'll do a list, and I know Raj has got a question, and then we'll go back to the list. We'll go to you next, Geoff. Borussia Dortmund's Marco Reus.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, and sure, yes. Why not?
Okay. Bearing in mind, fellas, at the end of this list, I'm going to give you the opportunity to pick 3 of these players. Okay, so get thinking on which ones you want. Danny, I've pulled out all the stops for you. Manchester United's Danny Welbeck.
Go fuck yourself and fuck no.
Okay. Raj, your question.
Oh, sorry, no, it was actually what we were talking about. The subject before last was about. I wanted to just ask everyone whether we should sell Diaby at the end of the season if we can, or do we wait until next year, or do you think that he should be given another contract?
Diaby?
Yeah.
Sell him?
Hey, Raj.
Fucking hell, I can hear Cap spinning in his grave.
Who the fuck is going to buy a one-legged bloke who averages one game a season?
If he's fit enough, I just want an opinion, really, because I kind of got mixed reactions from people just about 5 minutes ago, and I know what I would do.
Well, I'd like to keep him, and if he can play, keep him, because he's shown loyalty to the club, we've shown loyalty to him, and on his day, he can be a bloody good player.
So we're not going to spend. So you think next year we should renew his contract?
If he can play an entire season and play to the best of his ability, then hell yeah.
Pay as you play.
You know,
pay as you play.
He's not going to play a whole season, is he?
Hey?
No.
He's not going to play a whole season.
No, he's not. No, so it won't. I mean, even if he can manage 20, 25 games in the season, score 5 goals, and just be fit for the whole season, then yes, we should, because the amount of money we've invested in him, that's like rebuilding the $1 Million Man and then selling him to Argos. I don't know where I went with that. Sorry.
Two 3 times. I mean, what if some newly promoted team calls Arsenal up in June and says we'll give you £4 million for him? What would you do then?
No.
You still wouldn't sell him.
Too much money we've in. That'd be on the condition that another club want him because he's proved his fitness, and then he's going to go on to have a half-decent career because he's only about 25, 26. I wouldn't invest all that money in the first place buying him, in the second place rehabilitating him, and then as soon as we've got him ready to go, let him go into another club just for £4 million. I'd rather keep him at the club because on his day he's a very, very good player.
Keep him at the club, let him rot.
Sorry, I jump in there. I think we're past the point of no return with him, aren't we?
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
You know, it's a case so we're not going to recoup that money. So hell, you know, if we can negotiate a pay-as-you-play contract for him to keep him, you know, he can show a bit of loyalty back to the club that we've shown him. You know, he can be a great player. It would be fantastic to see him do well at the Arsenal. You know, and you know the glue factory aren't going to fucking have him. He's shit.
No, I think the thing with Diaby is when he actually plays, he does play quite well, or he is Arsenal standard. However, the only thing that the fans actually have a problem with him is his injury record. If he got games under his belt and he could prove his fitness, fine, fair enough. But for him to stay beyond next season, the only way you could do it would be a pay-as-you-play deal. He couldn't sign 2 or 3 years because that's just spunking money up the wall for the sake of doing it.
Well, he's 28 on the 11th of May, and he has actually played for our club 178 games, 19 goals, 16 assists. But my point I was getting at, if you look at 2009-10, 40 games, 7 goals, 6 assists. That's and season before that 36 games, season before that 28. It's only been in the last 3 years that he's fallen apart, so it's not really been his fault.
And plus, let's be honest, I don't think there's an Arsenal fan in the land that didn't applaud him when he kicked John Terry in the face.
Mentioning John Terry, can I seamlessly slip in another Twitter thing?
Go on.
Double_canister, who is a cheeky monkey, says, has the quality of ball boy beatings gone downhill this season? Mainly because Hazard has not been playing much.
Yes.
But there you go, those Chelsea scum. How the fuck can a wanky shit club like that can't play football end up almost in another Champions League final?
No.
Oh, I'll be turning in my grave if I was dead.
We're not talking about them cunts.
Fuck them.
Jeff, your thoughts on Diaby, please, before we go back to the transfer list.
Yeah, you know the second that we sell him, he's going to be a worldie, don't you? I mean, that's what's going to happen. No, I agree with.
Is he ready for MLS?
Yeah, that's right. We'll take him over here. You know, the one thing I will say is, as a fan, and I think probably most of you guys would agree with me, but maybe not, is if we do something dumb where we say where we don't strengthen in a key position and we say that we're not doing that because Diaby's back, I'll lose my mind. You know, he's got to be no expectation, no risk type of player, right? You know, if we've got him, great. If he helps us, great. If he gets injured again, we're not sitting on our thumbs saying, you know, well, what if, right? So, you know, those are my only thoughts on Diaby. I'd love to see him be successful at the Arsenal.
And to be fair, lads, if anybody from the club says it's like having a new player, they should be fucking shot.
Yeah.
I was just about to say, if I hear Diaby's back, it's like a new signing. Anyone that says that to me, just fuck off.
Yeah.
Right, we'll get back to the transfer list then. And who did we start with last time? Did we start with Raj, wasn't it? Raj, Everton's Kevin Morales. Yes, and can we buy him, and is he good enough?
We can buy him. I'm not too sure whether he's good enough.
Okay. Kris? Bayern's Tony Cruz.
No. I'm going to go with no.
What, you don't want him, or you wouldn't have him?
No, I don't want him. I think we got too many. I think we got too many players that do a similar or identical job. So not for me.
Okay. Geoff, Diego Costa.
I'm going to go with no. And no, I think Chelsea's got a march on him. I think he costs too much for what he gives.
Do you think he'd be a player that would add something to our team, though?
Well, yeah. I mean, he could give something. He'd start ahead of Giroud, undoubtedly. But I think if you're talking about the amounts of money we're hearing around him, I just think there's other players around that we could go for that would be better.
I mean, isn't he quoted about 45 million? And from what I make out looking at his stats, he has been a bit of a one-season wonder so far.
Yeah.
No,
you know,
well, 1.5 seasons now.
Is it 1.5 seasons?
If I'm honest, and it's not going to happen, I'd love to see him go to Chelsea, and then that frees up Lukaku for someone like for us. But I don't think Chelsea will ever sell Lukaku to us. But I'd love to see Lukaku at Arsenal.
But you're a big fan, aren't you, Jason, of Diego Costa?
Only because he's a nasty cunt. I wouldn't pay 50 million quid for him.
You wouldn't?
No.
Oh,
not 50 million.
No.
You can buy 4 Girouds for that.
Where would you play 4 Girouds?
I'd rather pay 50 million for Lukaku.
You know, you can actually buy 4 Suarez's for that because he's got 5 brothers. Most of them are still playing football. Imagine that. 5 nasty biting bastards up front.
we can't have 4 racists at the club. No
it'd be like a giant game of Pac-Man, everyone going around biting everyone.
Oh, boy.
I read a good description of Costa this week on Twitter. Somebody said that he looks like a serial killer wearing Eduardo's skin.
That's very, very good indeed.
He looks a lot older than 24, doesn't he? He really does. I wonder if he's got one of those Carnu passports.
We say that he's a half-season wonder. That's something I've been saying for a year now, so it's 1.5 years. But 11-12, he was at Rayo Vallecano in Spain. 10 goals in 16 games, because I think he spent some of that season injured. Last season for my team, Atletico Madrid, 20 and 44. This season, 35 and 46. Now, that can all be well and good when you look at people in their domestic leagues and domestic cups, but then you have a look in the Champions League this season, 7 goals in 6 games. Now, that is a mark of a decent player.
Not bad.
I don't know what it is about Atletico, though, but they just seem to keep bringing through these brilliant forwards. I mean, you got Falcao came from them, Torres came from them, Diego Costa has come through as well, Aguero as well. Just some of the players that you go, okay, they are the top in the game at the moment, have come through them. I think a lot needs to be said about that.
Feed them on raw meat.
It's not always the. I mean, you know, you can throw names out anywhere, but it's not always the player that just because they're performing at one club, they perform at another. I mean, look at Mata. I mean,
look at Torres.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just because they're brilliant, sometimes a player is fantastic because of the way that player plays in a team. If you take that player out of that team and out of their style, I mean, it's like trying to take a player out of, for example, West Ham and say, right, go and play for Swansea. They play 2 types of completely different football, and you might think that that's an easy transition to make. If a manager likes to play long ball or direct football, I mean, Torres is a prime example. You know, doesn't suit the football that thing that Chelsea claim is football. He doesn't suit the way they play. And similarly for us, if we went out and bought another big hulking great lump up front, it wouldn't suit playing with Giroud because they're too similar. You have to try and sign the players that suit the way a team plays. And when you look at Arsenal in particular, of all the clubs, we have got a specific style of football that we play from the under 16s all the way up. There's no point in going out and buying, for me, a Costa, because I don't think he suits our style unless you're going to rework the style of the way that the front players move. and the way that they come about. I think Costa would drop far too deep, and almost sort of get in the way of a Ramsey or an Ozil, compared to a nippy player where you can legitimately put them up front of their own and rely on the players to create for them.
No, that is a very good point. We'll hit the second to last name on the list, and we'll go to you, Jason. Schalke's Julian Draxler.
Yes and yes. And, he's quick, left-sided midfielder, winger, eye for goal. Yeah, all day long.
But do we think that he has the potential to be turned into a centre forward?
At the moment, I think we need a left-sided player and a centre forward. So, if he can do both, great. He's young. Wenger has a habit of moulding these left-sided players into good strikers. So yeah, why not? I like Draxler. I do like Draxler. So yeah.
And has anybody else got any input on this one? Kris, Raj?
Players that we would ideally like, is this?
No, as in, do you think Julian Draxler has the potential to make it at Arsenal?
Oh, on Draxler himself.
As a striker?
No, I don't think as a striker. Some people brought up the analogy of that horrible cretinous beast that dwells in Manchester. It's completely different. I mean, when he played at Feyenoord, okay, he was a more invertedly sort of a winger and then converted into a striker. I don't think Draxler is an out-and-out winger. He's more of a number 10. He's okay, he plays wide for Schalke, but that's like saying that we've got Podolski who's a winger. He's not. We just play him wide. I don't think Draxler's got, or from what I've seen of him, he doesn't seem to have the sort of cutting edge of a striker or a deadly finisher. He's more of a creator or a sort of guy that's gonna curl one in sort of from 25 yards more than the cutting edge. So yeah, I think he is a sort of player that we could definitely have. But again, much like I said before, I'm not sure where he fits in. I mean, you've got Chamberlain, you've got Ramsey, you've got Ozil, Cazorla. I mean, how many more of these players can you have?
Yeah, but we lack pace. We do.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true.
And another thing, when Henry first came to us, he couldn't hit the side of a barn door with a fucking cow's arse. He couldn't. Okay, and look what happened there. So, I think these guys, they'll see something in whoever they're going to get in that they can work with. And let's hope they make some right decisions.
I think my biggest concern is that I'm sick and tired of us buying players to mould into something that we could have in the future. Why not? A team needs a striker. I mean, look at Chelsea. They need a striker. They will go out in the summer, they will buy a striker. They're not going to go out and buy somebody who could potentially be the next striker. They're going to buy a striker. And for me, like, I don't, if the money's there, what cost or that is all irrelevant. If you need a centre forward, go and buy a centre forward. Don't go and buy a goalkeeper and say, well, he's got a pretty handy right foot, stick him up front. That's not. And we've done it. How many? Lauren, we bought him as a midfielder. He played right back. Kolo Toure, we bought him as a centre back. He played centre midfield. Mikel Arteta, we bought him as an attacking midfielder. He's a defensive midfielder. It's.
Giroud we bought as a striker and he's fucking rubbish.
20 goals a season, young man. You hush your words.
I mean, I'm all, don't get it wrong. It shows the manager has an incredible talent for turning players into something that, or seeing an opportunity of playing a player out of position. And even with Sagna, I mean, it's great to have that as a backup, but that is the word. It should be backup. You should be playing those players if you're short, not going out and saying to Draxler, right, we're going to spend 30 million on you, but by the way, when you join us, we're going to convert you into a completely different player. How does that sound? It puts too much pressure on the player, and also the crowd expectation. The crowd think, hey, great, we've signed this player, and then you get Sonogo treatment. He goes up front and he's an absolute donkey for 6 months because he's not used to playing the position. The crowd are all on his back and he's suddenly got 10 times harder job making it as a career because we bought him in the wrong position. It's not the player's fault.
Yeah, good point.
You probably all recognise that I have left one name off that list, and that's because I think we need to go into a little bit more depth. I stated this week that I don't want Cesc Fabregas at the club. for what went on before. Personally, I think he's a traitor. I think he shit on us. As captain, I thought he was a good captain when he was on the field, but off the field he was poor. And we've been linked to him again this week. Many of you will know that he got booed in his last appearance. And there's a lot of talk in Barcelona that he might actually be heading to either Manchester United or Arsenal. So I basically want to know what you guys think about having him back. Raj, I'm going to start with you on this one. Do you think he's a traitor, or would you welcome him back with open arms?
I personally wouldn't welcome him back with open arms, but I would not be surprised if we were offered him at the price that we kind of got guaranteed, that we would buy him. I don't think Arsene Wenger worries about someone being a traitor or not, and I would be at all surprised if he's back playing for us next season. But personally, no, I don't like going back into the past.
No. Kris?
I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this one, and I'm gonna drop a depth charge. Do you know what? I would, but there's one. I can't even believe I'm going to say this. I'm going to get so much hate. I would have Cesc Fabregas in the Arsenal side ahead of Jack Wilshere at the moment.
Hola.
I really would. And this is, I'm not knocking Jack in any way, shape or form. I'm not saying he's not a wonderful player. He clearly is. And don't get me wrong, I wouldn't want Jack to leave. But I think if you brought back Fabregas and you had the option of playing him in that sort of midfield role alongside an enforcer, or even alongside Ramsey, I think as Fabregas has matured, okay, he's been played out of position a lot for Barcelona as a striker, but I think as he's matured, he's got an element of bulk about him now. He's a lot less sort of easy to knock off the ball. I think he puts in a decent tackle. He's up and about. And the thing that worries me with Jack is that his sort of constant knocks and injury record could potentially, and I think I forget the chap's Dom, the Oz chap, yeah. The points he made about Jack's running style and that, things I've noticed, and I thought he made really good points about that on the pod last week. And those sort of things really worry me moving forwards in Jack's development. And I think if you've got the opportunity to have Cesc back at this point of time in his career, I would have him ahead of Jack. So, as I say, it's all opinions, and I'm not throwing Jack under the bus, but if that option was available, and we could have both of them in our squad, but have Cesc ahead of Jack, I'd probably do it.
But, Geoff, I'm going to go over to you next. He feigned injury and refused to play. Surely we shouldn't be getting a player like this back at the club, no matter how good he is.
Yeah, I would have him back. I understand why people wouldn't welcome him with open arms, and I would probably not be overly welcome. But listen, I've been doing some thought about this, and I said to you, Gim, on Twitter that I might not be in the popular opinion on this one either, but it sounds like Kris is with me a little bit on this. I think if he is leaving, so we shouldn't be going to look to sign him, but if he is leaving and it's not at the expense of another signing where we need to strengthen, because I think he is a bit of a luxury if you ask me. But if those two things are in place, I got three good reasons why I would take him back. And the first is that he's going to add depth, and I think we can all agree that was something that hurt us a bit over the run this year. So he's going to add depth, absolutely. I think too, if the rumors about the fact the first right of refusal are true, which I have no idea, but if they are, it prevents us from strengthening a rival. So that shouldn't be the only reason why we buy players, but it would be true. He doesn't end up at City or Chelsea or Manchester United. And the third reason is he makes our team better. I absolutely believe he makes us better. And at the end of the day, you think of David Dein, get a winning team on the field. If that's our objective, then yeah, absolutely, I'd take him back.
Does anyone know what the buyback clause is?
It's apparently 30 million quid, isn't it?
30 million.
If it's 30 million pounds, that he could be the only 30 million pound we buy this summer.
Yeah. Maybe that's where Puma steps in and says maybe he's the Puma player, right? Because of the sponsorship. Maybe, I don't know.
But don't they still owe us money for Song and Thierry Henry and
for Cesc too?
Yeah, and for Cesc. So I'm sure that we can get him for less than 30 million if we could agree something. It doesn't look like the fans have really taken to him at Barca at all.
Jim, let's get them straight, okay? That cunt engineered a move away from us, okay, when we needed him. And because he would only go to Barcelona, we got lowballed on his value by 20 million quid. He was worth at least 55 million when he went to Barcelona. And they were only underpaying 35 million for him. You know, he doesn't give a flying fuck about the Arsenal. You know, it's all right sending a tweet saying, oh yeah, once a gunner, always a gunner. Well, no offence, Cesc, I don't give a flying fuck about you, you cunt. You left, fuck off, die.
It's nice to see that again. You've chosen not to hold back.
I think he's been a little bit too delicate as usual.
Yeah.
Well, you know, boys, I thought I'd be subtle about it.
It's nice that you've chosen not to handle him with kid gloves. I mean,
The
Danny.
one thing I sorry to cut in, just very very quickly. The one thing I will chuck into my argument is, although I still have a little bit of a beat in the heart for him and still love him a little bit, I don't excuse how he left. The only thing I would say is it's a little bit different to how a lot of players left. The Barcelona pull was a big thing for him, and granted, he could have done things better, but I think other players left us a lot worse. That's all I'll say.
Sami Nasri left us in a better way than he did. And that's
Sami
it, you know.
Nasri never wanted to leave. He got forced out of the club.
Yeah, that's what we've been told. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And you know what? The amount of people that call him a horse-faced lesbian, I mean, I must admit. But, you know, Danny, can I get your final thought on the Cesc Fabregas one? Do we want him back?
This is going to take me a couple of minutes to go through. We've got £40 million for him overall because of after clauses. We've got a £50 million sell-on clause, which is hard to work out, but I think we could get him for about 30 million quid. But people say we don't need him. We've got Cesc and we've got Wilshere and we've got Ramsey. Well, you look at this season so far. At the end of this season, we're going to have played 56 games. Last season, we played 53 games. And last season, Ramsey played 36, Wilshere played 25. So there's plenty of scope in there for other players to come in. And the season before that, we played 54, 58, 55, 61. So people saying that it's going to ruin their careers, it's not. It means other players won't have to play all the hours all the games there are. They can come and go when they have a drop in form. They can be rested and other stuff like that. I would have him back. He was 20, I think he was 23, 24 when he left. And yes. If I was a footballer at the mighty Portland Timbers, and I'd done really well there, and then I was an Arsenal fan, and Arsenal come in for me, and then Portland said, no, you can't go. I'd say, well, I really want to go. So then they say, okay, you can go off. We get a load of money back. I've waived my £5 million signing on fee, which was, I mean, he's asked to leave. So
his loyalty bonus, wasn't it?
As he asked to leave, I mean, you're not sure if you should get that anyway, but we don't know the ins and outs fully of his contract. So then I'd go back to Arsenal, and I'd be saying, this is the club I love, this is the club I grew up with, and then if it all turned to shit there, and then I wanted to go back to Portland, I would think that'd be okay to go back there. Because it's not worked out for him at Barcelona, and they've never really taken to him. I think he's been let down a little bit, and I think he was one of our best players. He was hardly ever injured. He was always on form. When you look at the best, as a 22-year-old, I think he was about 22 when he had that great season, 45 goals, 13 games, 23 assists in 07-08. Then you look at him in
45 goals.
45 games, 13 goals, 23 assists. And then you look in 2009-10, 36 games, 19 goals, 17 assists. Now, it's not like he's done a Van Persie or any of those other shitbags. He's just wanted to go back to the club that he started his career at. That he's Spanish and he's from that area, and he wanted to go back there. Now that he said that he wants to come and play for us. Imagine what it would be like if we had him in midfield along with Wilshere and Ramsey as those three, with a little bit of Ozil playing. Oh,
Dan, he engineered a move away, you know. I mean, don't get me wrong, I loved that kid when he was playing for us, and if he came back, I'd fall in love with him all over again. But, you know...
You just wanted him to die.
Yeah, I know that.
He's no good to us dead, will he?
I'm still angry with him. I'm still angry. It's like a bad breakup.
Oh, I smell a bit of Welsh justice here.
Baseball bats at the ready.
Hey, boys, if he comes back, I'll be the first to welcome him.
But just imagine if we had a player who is permanently fit and he's going to play and he's going to score us 15 goals and get 25, 30 assists from midfield, and it means Ramsey and Wilshere are going to get to rest a little bit often. Just imagine, because we always say that there's no one on the same level as Ozil when it comes to forward thinking and planning and the vision of the game. I think Cesc is on that level. Just imagine.
It's definitely one to think about.
How about Gim? Would you have him?
No.
Oh, fuck you then. You're Giroudist and you're Fabregasist and you're quite rude.
No, I'm not Giroudist.
You are Giroud. 20 goals this season, young man. How many have you scored?
How many have I scored? A lot more than him.
Oh, you cheeky monkey.
I have.
Have you?
Yeah, and my goals per game ratio is better as well.
Oh, look at you.
It is.
Maybe you could go and play for Chris's team, because Chris is actually manager of the team, aren't you, Chris?
Well, yeah, player, manager, stroke captain, stroke organiser, stroke. I pretty much do everything. Yeah.
There's a lot of stroking going on there. Would you have Gimli play up front for? If you in your team, where would you play Gimli and where would you play Jace?
Well, Jace would have to be a centre back, just fucking people up.
Captaining everyone.
And I'd have Gim as my midfield enforcer, just gently sort of poking people in the eye and like raking the Achilles, that sort of thing.
Squeeze a few bollocks.
The way my squad is at the moment, I take all 5 of you quite happily right now. So 5 of you, 4 of you.
Jace, tell the listeners what I told you about my managerial tips the other night in the WhatsApp group. What did I tell you that you should do?
I think it involved a beverage similar to Pepsi, wasn't it? Beverage them all up.
It was get pissed, do a couple of lines of coke, go speed, and go nuts.
Yeah, like I said, my best mate used to manage a football team, right? And granted, they weren't the best bunch of lads, but they used to go out and get coked up the night before. They were still fucking flying the next day. I'll tell you, they won the league at a canter.
They all
so
dead at
literally,
25.
buy them all bottles of Gatorade, slip a little bit of coke in it, and you watch them piss that league, Chris. I've told you it before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking around.
Just thinking, I wish that prick would shut up.
Hey, I only want to tell your boys before you go out there, the other team just shagged their mums last night. That'll give them a bit of drive, isn't it?
We had a close game this week for anyone that follows me, so there's improvement in our team.
You were 3-1 down, weren't you, for 15 minutes to go? And what was the final score?
We lost a 6-4 thriller, I'm afraid.
The Barbican Pirates, eh?
That's the one.
Oh,
yes.
Check them out. Google Barbican Pirates.
You won't find much.
Maybe we should make them the pod's official team. We've got an official wrestler, Chris.
Yeah.
I think it's Chris Tunnymore, if he's listening. Hello, Chris. You're wrestling legend, and we've got an official mascot, which is Jack Neverline, and maybe we need an official team that we can all support. Any chance of them sacking you and making us look like twats for supporting a team you're no longer in charge?
Considering I fund it, bankroll it and everything, if they sack me, they won't have a club, so it's pretty unlikely. I am the Roman Abramovich of Plymouth. Yeah.
Can I come up with an official match day chant as well?
I'm fascinated what it might be.
Pasties and cider.
Yes, you can. If it's that, you absolutely can. Yeah.
I think you need to get Stokes to go down there and play. He'll fuck shit up, and he'll do lunch at half time.
And I should have open trials.
He'll even cut oranges without chopping his fingers off.
Let people let us know what you think, listeners. If you want us to adopt his club as the official team of a Bergkamp Wonderland, maybe we should do that.
If you don't, hashtag him in it. Just say fuck him, right?
Pirate cats.
You've got a list of these players that we've spoken over this evening, and I did say at the start of it that I want you to pick 3 of them.
I have made my list, and I've ticked 3.
So have we all picked our 3 players that we want out of this list?
Please, yes, sir. I have, sir.
I need that list again.
Okay, we have Alexis Sanchez, Pedro, Jerome Boateng, Marco Reus, Danny Welbeck. Well, he's not going to be on there, is he? Kevin Morales, Tony Cruz, Diego Costa, Julian Draxler, and Cesc Fabregas. Danny, seeing as you are the only one that's organised and listens, I will start with you.
See, I did have Royce, Pedro, and Cruz, but I'm going to have to put Cesc in there, and Pedro plays on the right wing, doesn't he? And when the mighty Walcott is back and then never misses another game through injury, I'm taking him out. So it'll be Marco Reus, Cruz, and Cesc, Lovechild, Fabregas. Come back, Cesc. All is forgiven.
Chris?
Simple for me. Pedro, Fabregas, and Reus.
Okay. Jeff?
I'm Royce, and it's only because Ava, our friend on Twitter, would kill me if I didn't pick him.
Birdie, birdie, birdie.
And he's quite good at football.
Birdie, 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 birdie.
Royce, Draxler, and of course Cesc.
And talking Ava, if anybody wants an insight into the Vitesse Arnhem situation and the real owner of Chelsea, go and find Ava's blog and read it. It's very, very good. It's better than good. It's amazing.
Van Ginkel.
I can't. Snoozensfaten. I can't remember what her thing is, but I've read it.
Puppenstaden.
Yeah.
Jason, you next. Your three, please.
Royce, Sanchez, and Lars Bender. Fuck Fabregas.
Yes! Power to the Welshies. I'm with you, mate. I am with you. And finally, Raj.
Sanchez, Royce, and I'm going to go for Draxler.
Oh, see, could you just imagine if we signed even just one of them? I think I'd probably have a boner until Christmas.
As a thought.
Yes.
Oh, the little kiddies, I can see them now. Mummy, that strange man's chasing me. Someone call you, Tree.
No, it's all right. He might have a hard-on, but the Arsenal have just signed Marco Reus, so, it's all right. Right, our final part of this week's podcast is just end the way as we normally do, and that's with some Twitter questions. So, Danny, take it away, please.
Okay, I was just trying to find Ava's blog thing, which I can't find because she's not got it linked in her profile. You little minx, you. Okay, Lewis Clinch, who is at Lewis LEWISSSCLINCH, says, who do you think will be better in years to come, Wilshere or Ramsey? Now, I've picked that one out because I think Ramsey's on the uppity up and Wilshere is on the limpety down. So I would personally say Ramsey. Although I think Wilshere's got more God-given ability, but he's got his wonky legs according to Dom.
Gim's gone.
Has he?
Yeah.
Oh, I just see someone start a burb. What does burb be? Has he gone for a wee-wee?
Be right back.
Oh, he's done a burb.
Bergkamp.
Oh, could be days. Go on then, Raj. What would you say out of those two? Who should be?
Well, at the moment, I'd say Ramsey. He's had a fantastic season. It's a shame about these last 3 months that he's been away, but you saw from last week, once he's back, he just changes the quality of the team in such a way. I'm so proud of him in some ways that he got so much stick when he was injured and the struggles he had after his broken leg, and so he got so much abuse and stuff, but he has proved everyone wrong. So,
are you delighted as well to see that after his first injury, he come back and he wasn't that good? After this injury, he's come back and it's like he hasn't been away.
He's just, I personally think he's our best player.
Yeah.
In the team. I think it's better than Ozil at the moment, but I'm sure Ozil will get better over the next 6 months or so. Wilshere, still rate him, but he's not had a great season this year, and he needs to do a lot more work. He's starting to feel like he's made out of glass at the moment, so no, I'll go for Ramsey.
Okay. Did you hear the question, Gimli, and have you washed your hands?
He's got orange stains on his hands now.
Oh dear. Gimli, you little swine. Did you hear the question? It says burb. Oh, he's got it on mute, you tit. Unmute it.
Oh, hoi, I am here.
Here he is.
Have you washed your hands after your burb?
No, I haven't.
Okay, who do you think is going to be better playing years to come, Wilshere or Ramsey?
Oh, Ramsey by a country mile.
Oh, well, that's two we've got for that. And would you like to elaborate on that?
Ramsey, I just think he's got better technical ability.
He is.
No, I think the problem with Ramsey's game to start with is that he used to take too many touches and try and do the awkward stuff, but now he keeps his game simple. He doesn't overcompensate. He doesn't take too many touches, and he does what he does so well. He's the better prospect, I think.
Oh, there you go. Then who's got their hand up? I see Jason's waving. Jason.
Don't
be racist.
No. I really hope they challenge each other and drive each other to become better players. But I think at the moment, Ramsey, I had a mate who was on the coaching staff of Cardiff City Youth, and when he was coming up through the ranks, they said he was 10 passes ahead of every other player. His vision is beyond belief, they were saying, and he's showing that now. So I hope they challenge each other and make each other better players. But at the moment, I have to go Rambo.
Go on then, Geoff. Lay some mustachioed knowledge on us about
Yeah,
these two.
no, I'm with Jason, and I've read some of the articles that have and interviews that have come out of Cardiff when he was there, and I think Ramsey it will be, and like Jason said, I hope that Jack is right there as well. But for me, it's Ramsey.
And the only person here who can claim to be a proper football manager, although Raj is a bit of a manager on the quiet, but we won't say anything about that, will we, Raj? Don't want you getting too much fan mail. Chris?
Ramsey for me all day long. I think, God, it sounds like I hate Jack. I really don't, but I just think Ramsey's, I think, to come back from what he's come back from, especially, he's come back a stronger player. He's quick. His vision is fantastic. And any player that last year people thought wasn't going to make it, and then all of a sudden now is an integral part to everything we do well, it's definitely Ramsey for me. We miss him far more than when Jackson aside at the moment.
Raj, go on, Jace.
Sorry, guys. You look at the character he's shown, not to just come back from injuries, but, the Boo Boys last season, etc. You've got to give him full credit.
Yeah.
Who's that shooting into the goal? It's Aaron Ramsey. It's Aaron Ramsey.
Oh, that's legendary. Raj, have you got some extra words of wisdom for this?
No, it's just what Chris said. I don't think any of us are hating Wilshere at all. It's just that Ramsey is just head and shoulders above Wilshere at the moment. So I think we all rate Jack, and I think he's still got a massive future at the club. But I think we're just opting for Ramsey at the moment. In 12 months' time, it could be completely different. You never know.
Yeah.
Okay then. The next one is from Bricktop, who is @_Jamie JAMIE MCLAREN. Do you reckon Diaby will score a banger in the final to win us the FA Cup?
He's clearly got a good sense of humour, this guy, hasn't he?
So you don't think he will then, Chris?
If I had to put money on it, I wouldn't put money on it. No.
Gimli, with your freshly arrived Chinese, what do you think?
Diaby? No. I just can't even see him playing.
Well, I am going, in honour of that question, for the FA Cup final, I am picking now Diaby first goal scorer.
Oh, Danny, one of the segments of this podcast you wanted to do is stupid tweet of the week, wasn't it?
Yeah, we've still got questions to get through here.
Have we?
Yeah, we have. I haven't even asked the rest of them the other half of the question. How rude. I'd never interrupt you when you're in mid-flow.
Much.
Jeff?
No, he's not going to be in the squad, is he? I mean, I can't see it.
Right,
I think Kallstrom has a better chance of scoring the wonder goal there.
Raj?
What?
Did I've already come because I'm reading
the right answer.
I'm reading Gimli's thing. He's got his Chinese had arrived, barbecue chicken balls, and Raj has put special fried rice kung po chicken. Is that all you've got to say on the Diaby situation? Does anyone else want to say anything?
Sorry, Diaby, no, he won't be in the squad. No chance. He will be in the squad. No.
Well, fair enough.
More chance of angels flying out of my arsehole.
And you got a dirty botty, and that's not happening. Okay, we'll move on.
They get stuck.
Okay, this is quite a good one. Oh, we've got two decent ones. Right, ALNUR. He's asked two questions. That's very good. Saves me having to read out the same @name. He is @NURMO16. I think that's numero 16. We have a talented team, yet can't take decent free kicks or corners. Why? Anybody got anything on that?
This has been pissing me off all weekend.
Go on then, Jace.
I don't know why. That's why I asked the question a couple of weeks ago, but nobody answered it. You cunts.
I'll jump in on this one.
Go on in.
I think we can. I think the wrong players are taking the set pieces. That's the problem. Personally, I just
would
think...
you have taken them?
Well, if Kallstrom is playing, I mean, we had a free kick. I think it was West Ham the other night, and it lined up, and Kallstrom was on the pitch, and I thought, hello, this is the moment. And Cazorla took it. I don't think I just don't think we've got the right players taking the free kick. I think Ramsey can hit a decent free kick. I don't think I've seen him take too many. I know he had one against Hull.
Even Arteta can hit a decent.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. I mean, he was Everton's penalty taker and free kick expert. So you know what? I mean, he doesn't seem to get many. I mean, I don't know. I just don't think we've got the right players taking the set pieces. I wonder what Ozil's free kicks are like as well. I don't think we've seen any of those. So no, I don't know whether it's something they even work on. It doesn't seem like it.
Well, I would go to Raj next, but he's put, actually, don't ask me, no idea. So there you go. Jeff, would you like to tell me, or would you like to message me?
Yeah, well, stay tuned. No, Podolski. What about? I mean, I seem to recall he scored a couple screamers off free
kicks. He might
kicks.
kill someone.
Yeah, he might. But I'd like to see him. Nothing against Theo, but when he's healthy and I see him standing over a free kick, I shudder a bit. So yeah, Podolski for me should be striking them a bit along Chris's lines. We may have the wrong people taking them.
And the second question from him, hold on, this just flashed up. Should we shoot more? The second question from him, which is also a good one. Regardless whether TV stays or not, should he be captain next season? Does anybody have any views on that rather than me going?
No, absolutely not.
No. Mertesacker all day long for me, all day long. He is, let's be honest, he's captain without a silly little armband already, isn't he?
He's Mr. Arsenal, isn't he?
We've had issues with this before, didn't we? In Gallas, we had to take if you take the captaincy off of a player while he's still at the club, that can cause issues, doesn't it?
You can't take it off. I mean, I'll be honest, and again, God, this makes me sound so pretentious, but as a football manager, I mean,
having named the stadium,
I just say that.
Yeah, I did. I'm sorry. Isn't it?
Imagine people what this is like. We have a WhatsApp group, and these two, Jason and Chris, are on like this all fucking day, 24 hours a day. I looked the other day after half a day, 158 messages. It's so bad that the original Geoff has had to leave the group. Raj has left the group, and I'm thinking of handing in my resignation for that group because it's like two old women having their hair done.
Hey,
I fucking love it.
Nobody told us there were rules, did they? The only point I was going to make is that I genuinely think, even at Sunday League level, if you're a captain of a team, that doesn't mean that you are exclusively the only one to organise, the only one to change things tactically, the only one to G up your fellow players. You should have 11 captains out there, but granted, I appreciate the personalities of the players are a bit different. But
who's your captain now that you're injured?
Well, weirdly, I made a slightly controversial move and gave it to the youngest player in the team because he leads by example. He's not a talker, but he drives the team on. So that
he doesn't do drugs. He doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't drink.
He's a good egg.
Who's your top scorer this season? Hold on, who's your top scorer this season, Chris?
Oh,
Pullen.
Don't ask me that because we've hardly got any goals. I think it's my friend Steve Lacey. I think he's got 4.
And 2 of them bounced in off another player's arse.
Actually, one of them was a highly disputed own goal, but we gave it to him. But no, I just think if anyone that's seen Arsenal live, especially live, you can hear Mertesacker the whole game, even when you're at a very loud ground. You know, you'll hear him the whole game. You only have to watch him, his expressions, his movements, his gestures to other players, the way he celebrates goals. I mean, we've all seen the images of him celebrating goals, even when they don't technically matter. He and the fact he collects the fines. There's all these little things. Personally, I think he's he's already the captain, just not officially. So no, for me, Vermaelen was just never really the right choice, I don't think.
Did you have something to say about this, Jace, or are we just going to say that we should shoot more?
I will say one thing. I've heard mentioned people saying, pardon me, Ramsey should be captain. No,
too much pressure.
No. Yeah,
exactly.
Leave the kid enjoys football. Yeah, Jack, Gibbs, all the youngsters, leave them enjoy their football. Leave them got to express themselves. You know, Mertesacker, perfect for it.
The German Tony Adams. All right then, Gim, did you have anything to say on that? Or should we move on to this new section that we invented 10 minutes before the podcast started?
No, just that I agree with Chris. I think Mertesacker should be captain. He epitomises everything that a captain should be.
Captainish.
Yeah, he is captainish.
Yes. It's all I can do, not to shout orders at you lot in German like he probably does.
Poppenstatten!
Poppensvarten! God, I'll be gutted if they're actual. I think Sean heard you screaming that. Just they're doing a DT exam work.
Cheating. Stopping you scoring.
You might be cheating, I don't know. Don't talk to me while I'm doing the pod, child. It'll be another beating for you and off to the coal shed. Gim, line up our new section, segment, thingy bob.
And this isn't us being pretentious at all.
Or pretensionist.
Yes. But basically, we get quite a lot of tweets per week.
Quite a lot.
And, let's just say some of the tweets we do get from some of you, it would appear that some of you aren't quite all the ticket.
And they're typing with their feet because they're in
Yes.
a straitjacket.
So, for our amusement, and I hope yours too, unless you're one of the people that tweeted us, of course, we are going to read our funniest tweets, or from memory.
We'll do one week.
One a week.
We
Danny?
should have done this last week, so it's my one from last week. Some moron, I don't know, I couldn't find it because I couldn't go back far enough. He said to us on the official account, do you think Gervinho will score a hat-trick against the Blades in Cardiff next weekend? I said, Gervinho, you mean... Do you mean Giroud, and we're not playing the Blades and it's not in Cardiff? And he just sent one back with a question mark. That is the kind of shit we have to deal with. And if it had been my own personal account, I'd have said something quite potty, but I didn't. I can't remember what I replied back. And I'm still absolutely lost as to what the hell he could have been on about. He got the stadium wrong, he got the finalists wrong, and he got a player that we sold last summer. And he asked me what the fuck I was on about with a question mark. Jesus Christ.
I don't know if I'll be able to bear that one.
Go on,
This one is just as good. I put a tweet out from Gimli, basically saying that I didn't want Cesc Fabregas at the club. Someone replied to them saying, you know, it makes sense. If a girlfriend cheated on you, would you take her back? And then the whiz kid, who will remain nameless, popped up and he said something along the lines of, you can't forgive Cesc Fabregas for what he did to the club. He should rot at Madrid. To which I replied, you mean Barca, right? To which he replied, and this is fucking brilliant, no, Cesc.
These people are allowed computers in their home.
So I had said to him, I've been... a lot of the podcast members are quite critical to the way I actually reply to tweets on the podcast group. So I just told him that get on with it and to have a nice day.
Or we send him a picture of a Robert Downey kitten.
Yes. And for any of you laughing, it's not discriminative. It's a kitten that looks like Robert Downey Jr.
Because it wouldn't be anything else, because that would be downest.
Just on Twitter, one thing I'd advise you all to do if you fancy a really good laugh, just say anything you like about Liverpool fans and just watch that shit go off. I blocked 73 people in about 30 minutes the other night. I know exactly how John and Jeff feel now.
You didn't get blocky, did you?
Oh, I got Blocky McBlockerson. And do you know what? Do you know what the tweet was that I put out? The one that caused all this, furore. All I simply put was
fuck the bin dippers.
No, I put no injuries, no cup runs, no European football, media love-ins, ladies and gentlemen. I give you Liverpool Football Club, and it went off. I got death threats. I got people threatening to come and kill my cats. I got people asking me where I live. Oh my God, seriously, are they the biggest bunch of? If they win it, this is what it's going to be like. It's.
I've got one of these.
I went on his timeline, okay? It was fucking hilarious.
It was, wasn't it?
Okay,
a lot of them.
They were like flies on shit. It was terrible. What a bunch of cunts.
Chris, would you like to recommend a tweet that I could send that maybe I will get some Liverpool fans hop on just as a...
Oh. I could, but I couldn't possibly mention. I'm pretty sure we all know what would get their backs up, but yeah.
Well, while you're thinking, I've got a friend who lives in Godmanchester with me, known as the other Danny, and Danny Bevan. I've known him for about 30 odd years. He's at Bevan2703, right? And we call him, me and my mate Lee and Dean, who is the Everton fan who's on the podcast, we call him 2.4 Game Dan. You have never known a more plastic scouser who goes on more about Liverpool. And we called him 2.4 Game Dan. He's never been to Anfield to see them play. And one game he went to, that's 2.4 games in his life he's been to. One of them he left early for some unknown reason. So that's the kind of thing we're up against. People who've been to see 2.4 games. I've been to see more games than that in an afternoon during the Makita tournament days. And that's what it's just the madness of some Liverpool fans. And you've got the Scouse Mafia all over the TV, and how the bloody, like someone said the other day, we should have subtitles when Carragher's on. Absolutely fucking deluded. I hate
He should
them.
wear a bib though, shouldn't he? And the camera should have some kind of film over the front of it, so when he spits on it, from his going, oh yeah, he's always fucking acting, he's spitting all over the camera. But Right
All
then.
you need to do now is call someone of their wives 7-kid cunts. Like you did in the Christmas special bit.
Who, me?
Yes.
Did I really?
Yes, you referred to some Scouse women as 7-kid cunts.
Lovely stuff. I can't remember that one, but...
It doesn't mean you didn't do it.
No, I stand by what I say as well. Could we have some predictions, please, Danny, for Newcastle?
I'm going to say a healthy 4-0, and Ozil's going to score the first from the halfway line with his head.
Okay.
For extra points. Whilst facing the wrong direction.
Jeff?
I'm going to go with 2-0 Arsenal, Giroud, and Podolski to score.
Okay, Chris?
Hold on, did you say Arsenal 2-0 Giroud, Podolski to score?
Yeah.
How did you say 2-0 Giroud with Podolski to score?
As in Giroud first scorer, and then Podolski to score as well, I'm guessing.
No, he's done us there. He's given us two names.
Hey, he's trying to pull a Canadian fast one.
Disqualification for the guest, because we got to try and pull some points back.
2-0, Jeff, and who's your first goal scorer?
Giroud.
I'd have disqualified him.
And you're on to say you get an extra point if it's an assist from Podolski.
Thank you.
Okay, because I'm writing these down. Go on then, who's next?
Chris?
Newcastle home. I'll push the boat out. 4-1. Cazorla, first scorer.
Okay, and Jace?
3-0. Rambo.
Ooh,
Raj?
Welsh Justice.
I was going to go for 4-0, but that's been taken, so I'm going to go for 5-0.
Ooh.
They are shit.
And our true captain, Mertesacker, is going to
Wise words from the mighty Raj.
Raj
you.
Raj is rocking out with his cock out there, isn't he?
Go on then, Mr. Gim.
3-0 Ramsey. That's what I'm
That's
going
the same
for.
score as Jason. See, you've been infected by the Welshman.
Is it really?
You didn't even know. You've subliminally gone 3-0 Rambo, the same as he did.
What a cunt. 2-0 Ramsey.
Oh, dear. There you
No,
go.
3-1 Ramsey.
Oh, fuck me, I'm running out of paper here, you inch. 3-1. That could be any score.
At least I said Ramsey.
You certainly did.
Consistently. Right then, we'll finish this podcast off with some shout-outs, and we will start off with Jeff first.
Sure, I got a couple. Danny knows the Axe in Portland.
PD.
He's a friend of the pod, isn't he?
Didn't you go down there to see him?
I did, yeah. So I met up with the Portland supporters group in January.
Come on, the Timbers.
Good crew down there. So I'd recommend you follow at the Axe PDX. And then one other guy, a good guy from Vancouver, always willing to talk the Arsenal, is Jared at Jared 1886. So it's JARRED 1886.
And a quick hello to Kaylina, who's a fellow Canadian.
Oh, yes.
And speaks perfect Canadianish.
Kaylina!
Follow Dorkley.
She is brilliant.
Awesome. Chris?
I'm going to rattle through mine really quickly because I've got a couple, if I may. I'll be as quick as I can. One is John Colton, United States favourite. He's fellow podder in Raleigh. He's at John_Colton, COLTON. One is Darren Berry, top guy, really writes some really good stuff. Always have good sort of chats with him. And he is at dberry, BERRY 1974. Also Sadia Banguna.
Yes.
She's awesome as well. Really good chat, always good sense of humour as well. She is at Cazorla's Foot. And the last one, did it last week, the last time I was on, but I'll just repeat again. Selena at Turkish Shorty Goon. She's just brilliant. She's always really good fun to chat to, and she writes some excellent stuff as well. Very talented writer.
They're all top quality there.
And without Darren, we would have no site. Well done, Darren.
It would just be a blank page of nothingness.
Not really much difference from what it actually is.
No, but you do a good job.
Oh,
Danny.
I certainly do.
Jason next.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Hello, Jason.
Right, Shemai.
How you doing?
I've been down, Joe.
Yes. 7.
He's probably easier giving us the names of the people that he doesn't want to fuck up with a baseball bat.
Okay, 3 of them. Rav at Rav_20. Top man.
We're trying to find out the other 19 because we don't want to be Ravist.
Anthony at AFC_Tone, Tone. He's a good guy.
He's mad.
Lovely guy. And the other one is at VIRABLUETIRA, Vera Blue Tira, but the headline is Vera Red Tira.
I know, she recently had a change in drinks. She used to have a red drink, now they got a blue.
Yeah, they're all top quality. Give them a follow. They're lovely.
They are, and they regularly interact with the podcast.
Yeah, they're great, aren't they? Lovely.
And luckily, Jason doesn't know where any of them live, thankfully.
I'm not that sort of guy. It's only a bit of fun, isn't it?
Hey, that won't go down very well in court.
No, it's all fun and games until someone loses an eye.
I'm actually very relaxed in normal life. Just football winds me up a bit.
Back to Marco Boogers and his caravan. Move on.
Right.
First one is at Arsenal_Anon, ANON. This is a group of guys who are campaigning against 3% price rises. So give them a follow and try and support them if you can, please.
We'll do a bit about that in next week's pod when GC's on, because they're having a demonstration at the West Brom game.
Yeah.
So we'll be talking about that. We could have done a bit about that tonight if you would have been on with GC, but we'll save it for next week because we're over 2 hours already.
Yeah, and just very quickly, just the other ones is at Bay Area Gooners, who are going to host me in San Francisco next Monday for the Newcastle. So looking forward to having a few beers with them.
Wonderful.
Oh, do you want me to do my shout first?
I would love you to, please.
My one is a very solemn, serious shout to a young man who's no longer with us called Dylan Tombides, who was a young 20-year-old striker at West Ham, and he lost his battle against testicular cancer this week. And his brother, Taylor, is still playing for West Ham, and it's a very sad story. He got diagnosed in 2011. He thought he'd got over the cancer. He got back into the training with the reserves, almost made it to the first team at West Ham. And it's very sad to see such a young, promising Australian young man pass away. So our thoughts go out to his family and his friends and the team and everyone. It's just very, very sad when someone's so young in football.
Well said. Definitely.
Was that the only one?
Well, I didn't want to have another one with that. I thought that's sad, so I'll just have one on its own.
Well, this week is a rarity. I've got 3. My first shout out this week goes to Dave Seeger, owner of the fantastic blog Gunners Town. So go and follow him at GoonerDave66. He's a top fella and a top follow.
Are we allowed to say what he's working on, or is that still a bit quiet?
No, I'd still keep it on the quiet. But
I'm excited.
He's got something that he's working on that he'll be on the show probably next season now.
Yeah.
And it's something that you should all go out and buy. My next one is at Highbury Finn, and he's trying to raise some money for the Macmillan Cancer Trust. So go check him out, sling him a few quid for a very noble cause. And finally, I think all of us wanted to wish our good friend and fellow podcaster Geoff Arsenal a massive congratulations, for today he became a granddad. We're so proud of you, mate. We can't wait to have you back next week, but he couldn't appear this week because I hear he's on his way to Poland to nick Steve's bus pass, isn't he?
For Grandpa Geoff.
For Grampy Geoff?
Grandpa Geoff.
Oh yeah, he's only 36.
No, he's at least 52.
Well done, Geoff, and well done his daughter, and it's lovely to have another Gooner in the world.
Yes, our thoughts are with all of you.
Yeah.
So all that's left is to thank you boys for joining me this evening.
Cheers.
Pleasure. Thanking you.
Cheers.
Hey, Jeff, Raj, nice to meet you. It's been lovely.
Yeah, and you.
Yeah.
All right, let's
second
the
that
loving.
one.
Yes, save the pleasantries till after we finish pushing the button.
What's going on now?
Oh, fucking hell, it's all treacle.
Oh.
So that was your weekly fix of a Bergkamp Wonderland. Thank you so much for listening, and keep it Arsenal. Good night.
Nanu, Pumpkins Fartons.
No, you should have gone, cheeky grandad bitches.
You just did.
Bye
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.